you will give it a 9 out of 10, knowing it's 50 years old, and even you don't trust Lalamove, you have met up with the seller to look at this watch and you will be satisfied, am I right? In our books, right, this watch is only a 1 out of 10 because the case shouldn't be polished. It shouldn't even look like this. Originally, the watch came as brush, so it came as on the right.
No.
So some irresponsible seller went to rub everything off.
Welcome back to Yamcha Sessions. This is part 2. All right. This is a freaking redemption arc. This time, video for sure. All right. So if you haven't watched the previous podcast, please watch the previous podcast.
They can only listen.
Can listen. Yeah. So if you haven't listened to the previous podcast, please tune in to the previous podcast before you go to this podcast. But if you also feel as if like you're already here, you might as well listen. Why not lah? Right. So today I think we'll be you guys brought a few other models I see.
Yep, we do.
Right. And I also don't know whether you realize the headphones are a bit different now, right? Do you feel it's clearer?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because I swapped it.
So you're having the shitty one?
No, mine is the good one. But his one, I feel right when I adjust the wire towards here, somehow it's a bit better. I have no idea. Sometimes life can't explain these audio things.
How come you're not wearing the headphones?
Oh, because I'm very aware with speaking to the mic.
He's the one that fixed the audio.
Oh. Yeah. So I'm alright.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, actually, if you guys don't want to wear, also it's fine, but it's better so that you are more aware.
So you sort of know your distance.
Yeah.
But the problem with wearing earphones is that it's too heavy and it's like shutting my jaw. So I tend to just wear it on one side, if you notice.
Yeah.
Bad for your jawline.
No, I just don't like maybe I just don't like how it's like, pressing onto my jaw. So I tend to just always wear it on one side.
Like a
then it makes me feel more comfortable.
And more cool.
Right.
Yeah, more cool.
For me, it's just a bit hot lah, sometimes.
Yeah, but you know what's cool for today? The watches.
He's converted officially.
Do you guys want to talk about the watches first? But I have a few.
Not really.
Okay.
The watches are there just in case you want to, or we want to point out certain parts or whatever.
We'll definitely do that.
Okay.
But I guess we can start off with some of the stories and the questions that we may have.
Yeah.
You want to get started?
Yeah, I'll get started. So basically, I have a few questions on the back end stuff. Right. So we discussed before the podcast, so I was discussing with Weng Keong. Maybe we can talk about the ins and outs of the back end stuff that you guys do operations wise. Maybe some things that people should be looking out for when they are investing their first vintage watch. More or less stuff like that lah. Okay. So most of the podcast will be revolved around this type of direction, if you guys don't mind.
Yep.
So for the first timers, right, normally if you go into buying your watches, especially when you go into vintage watch shopping, right, what are some of the key things you have to look out for to distinguish between real and fakes? Because I was thinking about it as well. If let's say you're going into watches for the first time, it's very easy to look at Petaling Street and then look at a Rolex store.
Yep.
But vintage watches, I feel sometimes it's been out of the store for a long time. So how do you know whether the seller is selling a legit watch? You can go MCOP Mall, guy will tell you, bro, this one from World War. But then you sure not. So how do you distinguish these things?
Very simple question, but very, very complicated answer. Yeah.
Huge amount to unpack.
Yeah, maybe even like top 3 things also, I feel at least a very easy guideline people can go through in their mind. Like top 3 type of thing before they see.
Okay,
It's a tough question, so therefore, Denson will answer.
let's break it down. Okay, let's talk about real and fake. Yeah, because there's something called real and fake, and there's something it's real, but the insides has been changed.
Oh my God. You're right.
The watch can be real. Yeah, I know. The case is real. The
parts are all real.
The parts are real, but inside maybe that 1 screw or that 5 screws, it's not real.
Yeah, 1 screw out of 40
Yeah.
is not the real thing.
Just because the guy needed to get it to work basically.
Yeah, kinda, yeah. Or a case where it is real, but it's in such a bad condition that you shouldn't even buy it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about fake first. Let's talk about fake first. You want to start?
No, you want to start.
Okay, fake vintage watches, they exist for sure. But in my opinion, if you're looking at the 70s and 80s stuff, to be honest, we have not really come across too many fakes. Because that is not the main concern
for the vintage
those,
watch
for
market
those
in a way.
80s market, let's say 80s pieces.
Okay.
Not too much fake one. Brand specific as well, but it's not so many fake pieces are floating around the market. 90% or 80% of the time, if you see a very nice Omega or you see a very nice Cartier and it's a vintage one, most of the time it is real. Because it's not so profitable to make fakes for these watches.
Okay, that's true because
of
it's
the
really
price range.
Yeah, it's only like maybe the sourcing price could be like 2,000 ringgit or 3,000 ringgit. Nobody's going to make a fake.
Can I add on to this question
for sure.
in a way that, in the past, in the 80s or the 70s per se, right, when all these watches were released, did they do fake watches at that time? I don't know. No, I can't really imagine.
That is also
right?
a very good question.
Right, like-
a lot of fake watches is from China.
Yeah.
But at that time, China isn't
not very developed.
that developed to me.
Enough to make good replicas at least.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fun fact, the Swiss watch industry was a fake watch industry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the centers of watchmaking were France and England, and to some extent Germany.
Switzerland used to make
The
fake
Swiss
watches.
watch industry was created because they were making fakes. So Switzerland is
it's the Singapore of
geography,
Europe.
right?
Yeah.
Very interesting geography because they're up in the mountains and all that.
In the middle of everybody.
Correct. And then they have, the agriculture, the world was built on agriculture.
Yeah.
Right? So when Switzerland sort of, they have the most challenging agricultural environment because of the terrain
Yeah. But they got a lot of
And-
cows though, right?
and because of seasons, right? So in winter, it's bitter cold.
Yeah, that's true because it's
in
like
Switzerland.
valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the farmers used to make extra money by doing other things,
making fake watches.
parts.
What?
Oh,
in
it
the
started with
hell?
parts first.
So, parts were supplied to other watchmakers in other parts of the world. And then after a while, when, you and your neighbor and everybody else that you know in the entire population of your village are all making different parts. Hey, we can put these parts together and make watches.
What in the world? And now it's like almost a pride thing,
Yeah.
to be
Now it's
Swiss made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Swiss is like supposed to be upper echelon and all that. But
Yeah.
it wasn't always like that. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is to answer your question. Have there always been fakes? Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
Damn.
it's a very complicated question to reply to you because there have been real watches with fake cases.
Oh wait. You
This
got
is-
real watch but fake case? You
Real
came
watch.
this far?
Yes.
Fake case, real watch,
Yeah.
fake dial,
Real-
real watch,
okay.
fake crystal.
Real fake case as in it was made by that brand, but people backdoor the thing to make it fake. Do you understand? So let's say brand A, they have to make this circular case, right? So they have a mold.
Okay.
They got to pour the metal in to make the mold, right? You can make like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. The guy who's making the mold, he will make extra and he sell it outside.
Oh shit.
You know what I mean?
What a cunning
They are-
fucker.
Yeah, they are real
Which happens
molds.
in China now all the
Yeah.
time.
Oh.
But this is in Switzerland.
After you told me this story, right? We always think about fake as in like piracy, it's with bad intent. But if we think back to the story of like how it started as fake, the Swiss were making it, right? Then the intent is not so bad. Maybe they are just trying to give repair services for people who have these original parts and they just want to have a simple repair.
Yeah.
And I do not know how watch collection, when did this craze started? Like, is it 60s, 30s? I do not know.
World War lah. It's World War, right? World War where they needed to create watches in order to wear to go to war, right?
That's
When you say the craze, you mean
the craze of
like people like
vintage
us.
watches. Yeah. When this the whole thing
Maybe
started?
about 20 years ago.
20 years ago. So that means maybe the Swiss were doing it like as a service, like a regular service. Like your PS4 had problem, your camera had problem.
Fix
I
like
learned how
parts
to fix it. It's like us doing podcasts here, right?
Yeah.
You can say that podcast started from, let's just say, I do not know where it started from, but it's definitely popularized by Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But slowly Malaysians here and there, we know how to operate camera, we know how to operate mics. Let's do our own podcast. Then suddenly the whole neighborhood knows how to do
because
it.
the origin was actually this and then everybody just started to copy of sorts.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
So it's the same thing with the Swiss makers. They weren't fake with bad intent. They were just
Not necessarily, you're right. I mean, like, for instance, if you talk about Japanese things.
Yeah.
Right? Japanese cars, Japanese electronics, white goods, appliances, and all that, right? Our parents' time,
It
Okay,
was
like maybe
the made
my
in China.
parents' time,
It was the made in China. Right.
yes, it was the made in China.
Yeah.
You know, like if you didn't have money and you were willing to sacrifice quality, you buy a Japanese car.
Yeah.
You know, because they were poor cousin copies of the Europeans. Right? And then now look where the Japanese are. The same thing is about to happen, I think, with a lot of Chinese products.
Yeah. I think Huawei is one example, right?
Yeah, the Koreans as well, right?
Made in China watches are big right now.
Is it?
Wow.
What's the Chinese brand? Chinese watch brand. What's the Chinese watch brand that's super famous now?
Seagull.
Seagull?
Yeah, the bird seagull.
I never heard that shit before.
They've
What
been
the
making
fuck?
watches for 60 years.
Oh wow. Huh.
Yeah, Europeans are into them right now.
Into Chinese watches.
Europeans.
Is there a reason why?
To some extent, lah. I mean, I think.
Oh wow,
I think
actually quite cantik. Oh.
in the West, there's still a lot of prejudice against Chinese watches, lah. And I have to admit that I also have prejudice against Chinese watches because they are still in that stage right now where they are not there yet. But you can see from the trajectory that they are getting there. This one actually is a company that bought over the license for a movement which was Swiss. It was called a Venus movement, a chronograph movement. And then the Chinese bought it and then they made some modifications to it and they started making it, I think you're right, in the 60s.
Even in the 60s?
Yeah.
Wow. But I have to say, I mean, I think it looks okay. Looks
Yeah,
quite
I mean,
looks
the
sick.
Chinese watch history is quite deep. One, I'm not very familiar with it, but I know some people, or I know of some people who are really deep into like Chinese watches. It's a very legit industry, and I don't know, maybe 20 years from now, you're going to be hearing about people collecting Chinese watches.
Probably, man.
Actually, it's starting. It's starting.
There's but
something
at a
called-
level where it's like Swiss or German or
There's something
whatever.
called indies, so independence. So they are not under any major watch brands. Like maybe Omega is under Swatch, or maybe Cartier is under Richemont. So
Oh, it's their own solo.
they are solo. So now so people have a craze for artisan, handcraft,
Solo stuff.
a man making a watch.
Do you think they do fake watches for Chinese watches too?
Sorry, say again.
Do you
Fake
think
or
they
not
do fake watches for Chinese
for
watches
Chinese
too?
watches?
The
Like a
Vietnamese.
fake seagull, you know what I mean? You think they do?
Okay,
I won't be surprised.
yes. Look at Seagull.
The answer is yes.
Look at Seagull
fake
on
seagulls.
Taobao. You just go Taobao and search for Seagull.
Sure got lah. Yeah, I should probably got lah.
It's so widespread that you can have like hundreds of sellers selling a Seagull watch, which is very sus lah, you know.
Actually quite difficult now that you think about it. So if let's say we go back to that question of how you distinguish the fake and the real, right? And if let's say, right, it's so easy to find fake watches now, maybe it's just more legit to buy a vintage watch lah, actually. Since you're saying the ratio also, more chance also is real, right, than fake. Better to buy vintage
If
or like
to
that.
make a fake watch, it has to be profitable for the faker, ma.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be
Yeah, yeah.
profitable for them. So it's profitable to make a fake Rolex. It's profitable to make a fake Cartier.
Yeah.
Or Omega. It's profitable. So there are some models. This is modern watches, like, you know. Yeah. There are some models where we know that guaranteed they are fake and real. It's that simple left and right comparison. But when we talk about vintage watches, you have so many
Yeah.
elements of fake and so many level of acceptance to what is a fake. So so this is just a random story with us and our collector friends. We are not professional dealers in, let's say, Patek Philippe, because Patek Philippe is very, you know how much the watches are and how much history they have on their brands. So one of our friends, he's a massive Patek collector, and there are some certain degree of acceptance when something is done by third party. By third party, it means that not Patek who did it. Maybe the dial condition is shit. Usually you will want to say, Patek, can you help me change the dial? Or help me refurbish the dial? In that sense, it's still original, correct? Because Patek themselves did the watch.
Yeah. And the refurbishment.
And the refurbishment. But in some certain models for Patek Philippe, they can let someone else from the outside do it, not Patek to do it. And they still can accept. They say as long as it's done nicely, they can accept. So is that a fake? That's
so-
another blur line. Is that a fake? To me, that is a kind of fake because you let someone else did the refurbishment. But to some people, they say, no, it's not a fake. This person is a reputable refurbisher in the Swiss market. He's given the fake. He's given a title to do it, so that is not a fake.
I see.
Yeah,
It's
so-
where you draw the line.
Yeah, where you
There's
draw
like
the
a
line, yeah.
spectrum of what is a fake. You know, that makes me wonder, like, when does a real, authentic watch becomes fake?
Yeah, man.
It varies, right? Depending on like, how you
Varies.
see it.
It's quite subjective,
Yeah,
to
it's
be
very,
honest.
very
Like,
subjective.
for instance, the example that Denson was saying, a Patek Philippe with an original dial, but that's been refurbished. To me, that's not fake. If you take a third-party manufactured dial and put that in,
Then, I would say
then to
lah.
me that's fake.
Yeah,
lah,
I
you
would
know?
say
so.
so
Like
too.
it's quite subjective,
So it seems like watches and wrestling has something in common, which is they use the word fake very heavily. But I would just see it as like, wouldn't that be just called contaminated? Like this watch has been contaminated with a gear.
Not pure. lah.
Tempered, yeah.
Tempered, that's a good word.
Yeah, contaminated is more for what diseases and whatever. So so you just talk about what you would define as fake in some what you would consider as not fake, the process. Let me just make the question more clear. Both of you guys, what is your personal take on when a watch becomes a fake for you guys?
Yeah. Where do you guys draw the line?
You first. I think you should be more particular.
Yeah, I think for me, like if more than one external component, visible component, I won't talk about what's happening inside because
Not
that
really.
one you really need to open and examine and take it apart and all that. So let's not go there because that's another can of worms, right? But just externally, if more than one thing is not the original part, to me that's fake.
Wow. That is so strict, man.
Yeah.
So if
It's so
you're,
strict, man.
so if you're back in Swiss, right, when they were still considered as
Yeah.
making fake parts, and would you consider whatever they touched back then is, straight away it's a fake watch already?
If they tried to pass off as something else, and I think that's the other component. Like if you put a bunch of parts together, from different watches and dubious sources or whatever, but you're not trying to pass it off as a Rolex, then it's not a fake. It's like a custom watch,
Yeah.
DIY,
But if you
or
try to
whatever
sell
you
it,
want to
yeah
call
lah.
it, But when you sell it with the Rolex branding on the dial, and somebody asks you, "Is that a Rolex Submariner 5513?" and you say, "Yes, it is," then you are selling a fake because
see.
it wasn't actually that way. I mean, we've come across watches that the crystal, the glass on the top of it.
Yeah.
The crystal is not original, we know, because it's a third-party one, because it sticks up way more than the original version.
Wow, so hard to... How do you remember all these things though?
It's experience, you handle enough, you kind of know. I mean, like we've had a situation where there was one non-original crystal which looks very much like the original. And then one day, I just texted him, "Bro, this watch we just took in, right? I had it under the reading lamp, and I noticed there was a reflection of the edge of the crystal that looked weird. And then when I looked at it again and I compared it against the original crystal, it was like 0.5 millimeter higher than..."
Oh,
Yeah.
so it does escape you also.
Earlier,
Because like some of them are really well done.
Yeah.
Earlier we were
Some are
talking
not.
about shoes, right? You were telling us about on shoes.
Yeah.
And you would know your on shoe so well that once your on shoe has some kind of damage and you don't want to go to an official repairman, right? You send it to one of those shoe
The guy
repairman
there
and-
in front of public bank.
Cobbler.
yeah, a cobbler, and then you come back and you know that it's repaired, but it's not quite the same. So I guess it's the same equivalent. That you would notice that glass is slightly higher.
To me, for me at least lah, right? If I were to wear that pair of shoes, and I think I like performance things. Like, so for example, I just replaced my iPhone's camera. I dropped it in the gym. I don't know how I dropped it, but I just replaced it. And the guy was telling me it's not exactly like Apple. That's I don't care lah, bro. Just fix it lah.
Okay, what about not shoes or phone? TCG.
Oh, card different, bro.
Like
Pokemon card different, bro.
I accidentally scratch on this.
Bro, if you actually scratch, it's unacceptable, bro.
So you see that level of enthusiasm and purity and all
But
that.
card is either real or fake. There's no replacing a card. You know what I mean? A
That's
card is a
true.
card. It's just the printing is the print already.
Oh, the center layer of the card was a different material.
No way,
such
cannot
thing,
be,
right?
cannot be. Unless you tell me like a model of a toy or whatever, you know what I mean? So a card is just, it's an art piece. You cannot fake a Mona
It's
Lisa.
a
lah.
single piece.
Yeah, it's a single piece.
piece.
It was printed on the sheet, they cut it up, and then it's how they do it. Lah.
So if I accidentally scratch on your card, I can just have it like, is that what you're saying?
No, you
You
gotta
don't care
pay me,
anymore.
Bro, it depends on the card also. Lah. Some card I don't give a fuck. Lah. But I grade some of the cards. I buy the graded ones, so it's like a slab, and then you have to send it to the US, and then they tell you what is the condition.
I think we're on track. Like you're talking about the level of passion, enthusiasm. Yeah.
Yeah, but shoe, I feel like it's okay. But sometimes if it feels different, then I'm like, oh, what to do? Like that. Right. But watch is very different. It's the scale of how expensive a watch can get also. So I feel like if I'm paying for it, I think if, let's say, you give me an example of that, is that a Rolex Submariner, etc., and then you Frankenstein put it together, then confirm fake. But for you are saying that if, let's say, someone told you like, hey, this is a Rolex Submariner, whatever, but there's 2 screws in there I had to use that's not Rolex one. For you still pass because cannot see the screw.
Will I accept it if somebody discloses? I may because, if let's say the price has been adjusted,
According to
the defect,
then I will take it to my watchmaker and replace those 2 screws.
Check out the price.
Yeah.
No, not to resell, but if I'm buying, you know what I mean? Like to me, the most important thing is disclosure, right? The practice that is unacceptable is if the person who is selling it
don't tell you.
knows that there are some things that are not original and don't tell you.
Very common.
Oh, is it?
Very, very common. Like the one he's giving the example on the glass. So
You want to shit on that guy or not on the pot?
No.
a lot of clients of ours kena. A lot. And one of our client, a lady who has the audacity and daring enough to ask the seller, he say, hey, why is my glass not original? The seller can say it's a common practice. If the glass is scratched, it's common practice to change to a new one. Is it acceptable to you guys?
Bro, that's not acceptable, bro. That's not not even a reason, bro. That's
So if somebody in that same
that's
situation,
lying about the situation too, man. I'm just saying.
It is, yeah.
if in that same situation the item was sold to you with the disclosure that the glass
has
is an
been replaced.
aftermarket replacement, will it then be acceptable?
For me, is going back to what you would do lah. If the price is right, adjusted, then I can go back and change the thing.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
But
So that's the difference between the perception of fake or deception versus integrity.
I want to layer onto that, right? And
Yeah,
and just go. If the guy was willing to tell me that, and I would ask him, hey, but bro, where did you get this watch also before this? And he told me, oh, somebody else sold it to me. It's not from a proper store, right? I'm like, oh, this has to factor into the price is factored in also now. Because now, right, I don't even know whether you asked these questions from the previous guy, bro. I don't even know whether the inside parts or whatever parts now, you only know the crystal, what? How you know about the other things?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Right, like, dude, you don't even know. Why? I don't even trust you anymore.
I think that's a good segue into because earlier you were saying how do you advise people if they are buying their first vintage watch? What should you do, right? Within the community of watch people, the biggest rule is buy the seller. And I'm sure in other hobbies and all that, you have similar phrases.
Buy
or
the
tenets.
seller.
So you are selling a watch to me. I shouldn't just be buying the watch. I need to buy you too. I need to believe you.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to do my research. I need to make sure you are reputable.
Yeah.
So buy the seller.
Oh, you buy the seller, not the product in a way. Okay,
I mean,
get
of
you.
course, obviously you're buying
You
the
buy
product, but not just the product. You need to buy the seller. So that's like the number one rule across the board.
whole danger, huh? danger, very danger.
And, you know, whenever we talk about these things, like Denson and I have to be conscious of the fact that we don't want to paint a picture that it's all doom and gloom and you're about to be cheated by everybody. The reality is there are far more
reputable people than not
trustworthy sellers and dealers than the bad ones are. But unfortunately, the bad ones are the ones that get all the attention and give everybody else a bad name.
Because they will do their marketing in a way that attracts you.
You're right.
and they want to sell only ma.
Yeah, the bad ones, they do the most marketing. They throw the most into advertising.
Oh.
Yeah. I was working on watching some watch videos like beginner mistakes, and that's exactly the same thing. You got to buy the seller. It seems like a common knowledge for those people who experience.
And I'm assuming in Malaysia it's mostly carousel. It's mostly, is it word of mouth? Is it carousel? How do you buy the seller in a way? Like how do you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How you verify legit or not?
Yeah, I mean, like you can look at reviews. So, but you have to understand the difference between review platforms. So like Carousel is a very good review platform because it's very hard to fake reviews because Carousel does IP checking and all that. Wow. So like if let's say, and then you cannot, I don't know if you realize this, but you cannot have more than one Carousel account on your phone.
Oh shit.
I don't know if you realize that.
I don't go on Carousel. Yeah.
But
I did because I bought a watch from you. Yeah, long ago. Yeah.
But a lot of other sort of these marketplace platforms, you can have multiple accounts on one device, right? So that is the first step that they make it harder. If you really wanted to fake your own incoming reviews, you would have to buy many devices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like there's a difference between somebody with 15 good reviews or 150 good reviews.
Yeah.
So the guy with 150 good reviews quite likely has not bought 150 devices. I mean, they can in theory, but quite likely they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah,
right?
you would have to really hardcore.
Yeah, so you need to understand like the review platform. Things like Trustpilot is a exceptionally good platform.
One word, Trustpilot.
Yeah. And we decided that we would use Trustpilot as our platform for accepting reviews, because like when you drop a review on Trustpilot, it doesn't even show up immediately because it goes through human eyes. You know,
nice.
Yeah, they have one level. The first level I think is AI, and then the second level, if there's anything that's being flagged, they will have actually human beings who read the review and see whether like real or not, overly positive, whatever, and then they apply weightage. So like if you if you have like 10 5-star reviews, your business is not rated 5-star.
There's a review on a review.
There's a review on a review.
There's weightage. So like we have something like I think 24 5-star reviews, but our combined rating is 4.7.
Out of 5. That's
They
pretty
don't
good.
give you the full like, you know, if you have one 5-star review, it doesn't mean you are 5-star. So when we got our first 5-star review, it was a 3.4. I was like, wait, why is it only 3.4? Yeah, so they weighed it out. Everything, what's the length?
It's a quality of the 5-star review.
So so one of clients who put a review, but he was very chin chai. Just type, Denson WK, they were very understanding, the product was nice. So it was only 2 lines. The review didn't get on the platform for 1 day.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're worried it's
but spam
but the people would type like a 2-paragraph, 3-paragraph within like an hour or so, it was on. It got validated and it appeared on the site.
Yeah. Quite hardcore way.
So reviews is one. Secondly, word of mouth, like you said, is very important. So that's why because I think we are at a level of insanity in the hobby where we buy and sell a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the business. I'm just talking about like for
personally,
us as collectors and enthusiasts, right? So you have to get to know people. So I actually make an effort to get to know the people that I buy from, so that if next time a watch shows up being sold by somebody I'm not familiar with, I can ask the dealers that I've bought from before, you know this guy? Legit, no?
Quite difficult, man. I feel
it's very hardcore. When we started this, we had like a spreadsheet, to do our inventory. And one of the column is a reason for buying. And you have to ask the client what's his reason. So he feel like, oh, she's buying because it's her promotion. He's buying because it's the girlfriend's birthday. Or she's buying no reason. So he wrote everything out. So I was telling my wife, wow, I say, wow, WK damn hardcore. I've been selling so long, I've never even recorded what my customer's reason for buying
But I
is.
mean, like, this is CRM lah. So customer relationship management, right? You need to know your customers. But that's a separate thing lah. Thanks for throwing me under the bus.
It's you respect the amount of dedication. You really respect. It opens my eye as well, because I'm also dealing the watches, and I don't put in that effort.
That amount.
Yeah, when he does it,
that's mad scrutiny to detail, man.
I have to do it now. I have to do it. Yeah, now I have to do it. Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of this comes from having run a business for over 20 years myself, right? Previously, before I and you learn lah, that there are some things that are actually tedious to do, but are super important.
But sometimes people learn, but they don't do also lah. To be fair, you gotta have the discipline to implement also. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, never mind, I've done it before, that type of thing. But I want to know, right? If let's say I'm a junior in this whole industry and I want to buy a vintage watch, obviously both of you had the years of experience plus an extensive network in order for you to reach out to verify whether legit or not. So if let's say like Vincent and I, we want to buy a couple of vintage watches, our network is only basically both of you. We only can ask both of you. But if let's say they are a person that's watching this podcast for the first time, they don't know of any four of us, right? How does one reach out, or are there any super legit people you can ask whether this seller is legit? So for example, can I go to a person in Subang, for example, and I know for a fact that this guy has like an extensive network, I pay him a certain fee for him to tell me whether this seller is legit or not? Are there people like that?
I don't think anybody would charge you for that information lah.
Wow, so nice one, yo.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not like you're asking me something that requires me to spend half a day of work on it or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, do you know the guy? Yes.
But quite spam, right? Bro, imagine got 20, 30 people after this, they see your Instagram, they're like, oh, like that, fuck it lah, we all message Weng Keong lah.
But we have a policy lah, is that we don't comment on other dealers. Because like, if somebody were to ask, if let's say you're a watch dealer, right? And you're buying a watch for the first time and you don't know this guy, you might ask me, hey, do you know Vincent or not? Because you asked me, do you know Vincent or not, there's a name involved. Once there's a name involved, we won't comment.
Then how to ask?
So cannot lah, basically.
Just don't say the name.
Especially when it comes to, and we get this sometimes, somebody finds a watch on eBay, with like 6-7 photos or whatever, and then they send us a link to say, hey, can you tell me whether this watch legit or not? We cannot lah. We won't take that responsibility.
Oh.
And what if it's not?
Yeah.
What happens?
Based
What
on
if we
photo.
tell you, it looks good, and then you buy?
Then highlight fake
I
or
guess
whatever.
maybe to answer your question is that you just kind of, look around and see what watch as your friends or your relatives is wearing and strike a conversation from there and slowly find your way into the community then.
But they won't name the name though.
No, I mean like, because you're not asking people officially like, hey, what do you think about this? You get into the community.
Have to join club.
No.
I mean, I think everybody who is into watches has
Somebody
has
they
been
know.
at that crossroad lah.
Yeah.
I was at that crossroad when I first started, like I wanted to find out about certain things, right? But nobody to ask me because you don't have a network of dealers that you know well enough to drop a name and then they would be willing to respond to that because they know you already. The reason why I say I wouldn't be willing to drop you an opinion on dealer X because I don't know you. But
Yeah.
what if you're part of dealer X punya, mahjai, and then you're trying to test me and see whether I'll throw you under the bus or whatever. As an example, I'm
It's
not saying
possible,
that happens,
it's possible,
but
yeah.
like if I don't know you, I'm not going to be open about sharing my opinion about some other dealer who is a competitor.
How did you cross
It's
that
not
bridge
fair.
then?
So you get to know people lah. So if you are only in it to buy one watch, obviously you're not going to go to all this trouble. So it only applies to people who are like enthusiasts and hobbyists, and they know they're going to be buying a shit ton of watches over the next 10 years, 20 years, whatever. Then it's worthwhile for you to invest the time to get to know people.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
build
make
that
friends,
repertoire as well.
build a rapport with other dealers,
Yeah.
you know, other collectors and so on. So it's a choice you make, lah.
So difficult.
If
so
you
scary.
it's not scary, bro. So I the easiest thing to do is buy the seller. Okay, look for reviews. You know, take the seller's name,
Put there.
put the word scam after it. Google it. No, seriously. If nothing shows up, nobody's ever said this guy was a scammer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see.
And none of these one things should be your deciding factor. It's the totality.
Definitely.
You know, he's got a shit ton of good reviews. The reviews are on good platforms. You know, I haven't found a single bad thing to say. I haven't found a single bad thing being said about this dealer. In fact, I found positive reviews in forums or you know on Instagram.
So it builds that belief
Then you
to.
build a picture. Then you take that small calculated risk lah in that case.
Do you think it's always best to just meet up with that person to see the condition of the watch and everything first?
Provided you know how to see the condition.
Yeah.
Condition is a very nuanced thing.
Yeah, because I feel like if you lala move me the the watch, I like. Oh.
I mean, we also know people who have been in this hobby as long as we have, who will never buy a used watch
Oh, is it?
because they're still in that zone where it's too big a risk for them. You know, they can't handle it.
Let's segue into one of these watches and let's hear some stories.
Yeah, what he says, it's a very nice time to look at the watches.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
These two
Oh,
watches you cannot flip, but only can look from the front.
Okay.
Only can why?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just to tell, is it?
Because some confidential information inside on the other side.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay, got you.
So like you said,
You wanna
you were saying about the condition, and you rather see the watch, and WK says that you have to know how to see the watch. Am I right?
Yeah.
So let's look at this watch first. Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna dial into FaceTime
Okay.
so that way we can pull it up on the.
Okay, you can move the watch.
Then
around.
this time for real because that's video.
Just don't show.
Yeah,
the
just show
behind
it like this. Yeah.
Hold on, let me double check on Nick's side.
Can see on screen.
Oh, but we're gonna put it up here as well. But yeah, you can continue with your some background.
Okay.
Okay.
So we were saying, the buyer has to know how to look at the condition and what is right. So whatever is on Vincent's hand, what's your first thought of the watch? What's the condition? What do you think about the condition?
Well, a little bit of background about myself is that I don't know too much about watches, but when I did do my research about watches back like 10 years ago, it was actually Omega. So I had a personal preference out of all the watches. I feel the most with Omega. That's why I chose that as something that I study. So just like, you know, answering to your question, right? If I wanted to get started with Omega, I look at this, the first thing I would feel is that, oh, this is a pretty nice watch. It's making me excited.
All right.
I wouldn't even look at flaws in the beginning.
Yeah.
So then the next thing I'll look into is like, probably a little bit of scratch here or there, but I cannot tell anything to do with the inside, the glass materials or anything. No, we just, where is the, what happened to the view where I can see?
No, the view is here, bro.
Oh, okay.
It's all black.
Oh, don't worry about it.
You adjust the
Yeah.
lens first.
No worries.
Hey, where is it? Where do you go?
No,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
there you go. Oh, you need to
It's
adjust
here.
because it's a 3 lens, so you need to adjust based on that lens. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so from what you're saying, aesthetically it looks good. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, and it's it's a 50-year-old watch. It's relatively acceptable in what condition you're looking it at right now. You know, like there's no dents. It's beautifully polished. There's nothing wrong from.
Under the G and A.
Where?
You see, under Omega, there's a bit of a N. Like, you see this?
Is it dirt?
Am I supposed to use my... No, there's a cloth there.
No, it's inside.
It's inside.
Yeah, it's inside. It's inside. Okay, let's ignore that first line. Now we look at the case. Let's look at the case.
Okay.
Relatively, what would you rate the case? Rate the condition of the case.
The case, I'm going to assume, because my watch terminology, not the best, is basically the outer rim.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The whole thing, yeah.
What would I rate it?
The ring is the bezel.
The bezel is the ring. The case is the
whole
thing
thing,
holding the...
Including
the
this.
lux.
yeah.
Correct. What would
Okay.
you rate the condition of the case?
Can I see nearer?
Yeah, can you
don't mind?
no worries.
I won't show the back, don't worry. Maybe I give it an 8.5.
You give it an 8.5, right?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do see like minor micro scratches, which I think is quite normal because it's wear and tear.
Yep.
But in terms of
It's already
colour,
54 years old. The watch is already 54
shit,
years old.
54.
Yeah. So with that information, what would you rate the condition of
Solid
the case?
9.
Solid 9?
Yeah, because you probably wore it like maybe once a year at this point.
So in your books, you will give it a 9 out of 10, knowing it's 50 years old, and even you don't trust Lala Move, you have met up with the seller to look at this watch and you will be satisfied. Am I right?
I better go meet up first
Yeah.
if I'm buying. Yeah.
Because you don't believe Lala Move. But in our books, right, this watch is only a 1 out of 10. Because
wow.
the case shouldn't be polished.
Is it polished?
It's fully polished. It shouldn't even look like this.
Like shiny? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. It should actually look like this.
It should be brushed.
Yeah.
What's the difference between brushed and...
We'll see.
Okay, now you can comment.
Okay, come.
That's not, all right. This one you can show it.
Oh wow, this is such a different watch.
All right, yeah.
This is a different watch altogether.
You can put it side by side and you will know what we are talking about.
It's almost matte, bro.
Yeah, this
it's
is how
almost
the
matte.
case should be.
So do we not polish our watches?
The watch came originally, the watch came as brush, so it came as on the right.
No.
So some irresponsible seller went to rub everything off.
There probably was a lot of scratches
Yeah.
on the brushed version.
Oh, that's why he polished
and then he
it.
polished it lah.
Yeah, then he sell as like this lah. So a person who doesn't know how to look at the condition will say, wow, it's so beautiful. There's no dents. It's so shiny. I'm going to buy it for
But
6,000.
but now that you do comparison, I kind of like the brush one more lah. Because now it looks like, it's got a bit of
Not only you will like it more, but it's the original condition. Yeah. So you cannot say the left
It's got a
one.
bit of soul lah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't say the left one is a fake. It's still a real watch, just that it has been
Conditioned,
irresponsibly finished.
Actually,
That's why I say condition is very, very nuanced, right? And okay, I've brought a lot of contradictions into this show because I like contradictions. Like
Okay.
I got into watches because I was getting out of them. I don't know if you remember that contradiction. Like my business philosophy is to make a profit by not looking at profit, but looking at quality.
yes.
It's a lot of like these kind of contradictions. The advice that I would personally give anybody about buying a watch from the past is that you need to look at the future. You need to think about what's going to happen to the watch that you're buying if you're not looking at the right elements of condition, right? And so the finishing of the watch, which is what we're talking about here, one is a brush finish, the other is a polish finish.
Yeah.
This is done on a material that is gold-plated, which means it's actually stainless steel inside, and then they
coat it
through
with
electrolysis, they put on a very fine layer of real gold. Once you polish
Bro, the
that
gold gone, bro.
that you're losing material,
Yeah, you're losing a bit of gold.
right? You're losing some of the gold. So now it's been done this way. You may look at it and say okay, assuming you have the knowledge to say, okay, that case was never meant to be polished. It's supposed to be a brush case. But never mind, the dealer had already polished it. I can refinish it again to a brush finish.
Can one
But it's plated, right? Which means it's a very thin layer of
Yeah.
gold, right? Which means if you do it again, you're probably going to start to expose steel. So to buy from the past, look at the future. What can you do with that watch in future, given its present condition?
I mean, you can hope that the future, there's a way that you can kind of do it without damaging it, I
Correct.
guess.
But if in the future, your latitude to refinish that thin layer of gold is already limited,
Yeah.
then should you be buying that watch?
Probably
And
not
if
lah.
you buy that watch, what price should you pay
Yeah,
for it?
yeah. I mean, if you were to buy and they gave me a really good price for it, I guess the story is, I bought it at this really, really, really like attractive price because of that lah. You know?
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
like if there's something which is in poor condition or altered condition or
Mishandled.
imitation or franken in terms of its parts, you can still buy it if you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
Just don't pay the price as though it was in good condition.
Yeah,
lah.
lor.
Nobody will fault you, you know what I mean? Like, in fact, I know people who will purposely seek out watches that are in poorer condition because, first of all, they don't care, they don't mind. And secondly, they pay a low value for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But the issue in the industry is when, I would say maybe, okay, to put it crudely, dishonest sellers would take something like that and sell it at a premium price because it's so shiny and beautiful.
I was going to go to that. I was going to say, a seller who would speak to for example, a Vincent or a John, because we both are so like, whatever. Like,
Look at how beautiful this is.
you see, I sent for polishing, and he would market the polishing as a good thing, right? I polish for you so nice already, but never mind lah. I still give you under market rate, quote and unquote under market rate, and you would pay like a ridiculous price. And then if I met up with you and be like, hey bro, you see I paid this amount for this, what you'd be like, oh man, sorry lah bro.
We'll probably tell you, oh, nice watch, and then try and change the subject. Because we don't want to
Now I
break
know
our
lah.
heart.
If you're like, hey, Weng Keong, you see this watch, hey, you eat char kway teow. I know, fuck lah. I messed up big time lah.
So I'll give you another two examples of like the way to buy from the past is to look at the future, and why that is so important as a rule lah. A lot of people, when they buy watches, they are looking at it externally, right? Condition ma. But the biggest issue with condition is what's going on inside. It's the movement. Because that movement has a direct implication on the money you're going to be spending.
I mean, it's the
in
purpose of
your
why you're
future.
buying it too lah, to look at the time also lah, right?
Then does that mean the process of wanting to buy is that, okay, I'm here, I'm meeting up with you. Do they say, can you open the watch for me to see?
Do you know how to see what is a good condition on the inside?
I mean, irregardless at that moment, right? Let's just say, is that something a common practice? I want to take a look at it. Whether you think I know or not.
Let me
Very
come
good
back to
question.
that.
Very good question.
Let me come back to that because that's an excellent question, and there's an easy way for a watch buyer to get around that issue, right?
Bring another watch.
No. So
Compare, yeah.
So, like I think in the last episode when we were on, I was saying that I was making comparisons between watches and cars. I was saying that a watch, you service like maybe once every 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
And a car you service like every year,
definitely.
right?
That's
So the
usually-
cost is
yeah.
very different. So a watch is 5 to 10 years, right? In those 5 to 10 years, you can get away with a servicing job for as little as a few $100. Or if it's a very expensive brand, like $1,000 over bucks at on the average. But all that is assuming you don't have to replace anything,
Oh no.
right?
Oh no.
So if your watch is in poor condition now when you buy it and you use it and it runs and there's friction and there's wear and tear and lubrication continues to dry up, imagine in 5 to 10 years. So if you are not thinking about the future when you're buying a watch from the past, you are going to have big bills on the horizon.
Yeah, man.
The third thing that I want to bring up about looking at the future when you're buying from the past is that I can guarantee you that more than half of people who buy watches, eventually they no longer love the watch. Right? Because taste change, man.
Unless you talk about Denson's epic Cartier watch from the previous episode.
Yeah. So
Very hard to grow, out of that one.
I'm not talking about selling. I'm just talking about whether you continue to love the watch. Okay. There are a lot of people, I'm obviously not one of them, who once you no longer love the watch, they will still hold on to it. But I will sell. Okay. But not everybody is like that. Some people, they will still hold
Sentiment
on to it
lah.
because
The whole topic of
sentimental
sentiment.
reasons, blah, blah. However, you don't know if in 10 years whether you are going to be type A or type B. You know, are you going to be the type that will hang on to something even though you no longer love it? Or you're going to be type B, which is you will sell it. If you didn't buy right in terms of the condition today, if you happen to be type B and you're going to sell it 10 years from now,
Very hard.
you're going to lose your shirt on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because your condition was not right in the first place. Things that didn't matter to you now, like, I don't care lah whether it's polished or not. You know, it looks nice, ma. I don't care lah whether the timekeeping is accurate or not. I got my phone, ma.
Then after that,
You know, I don't care lah whether the glass is original or not. I can still see through it, ma. Until you need to sell it.
Then,
Right? Then the world, the watch collecting world comes down on you and you realize what a mistake you made. So to buy from the past, think about the future. And all of these things that we're talking about are to try and hopefully help people to understand the nuances behind condition. So condition is nuance, right? When we rate a watch for condition and we say it's a 7.5 out of 10, the 7.5 out of 10 watch may have more scratches than one with a 9.5 out of 10. No, sorry, the other way around. The 9.5 out of 10 watch may have more scratches than the 7.5.
because of the runway.
Because of the runway.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, yes, it has scratches, but all the lines, all the bevels, all the edges, all the transition between polished surface and brush surface are sharp.
Yeah.
This is the way the watch was originally designed, and if not for the surface scratches, the watch is exactly the way it was when it came out of the factory.
I think
that's a 9.5 out of 10.
I think Yi Heng had mentioned this before as well. I remember I was speaking to him about a Rolex or something, and then like a guy that buffered the crystal of the Rolex, then suddenly it's like matte drop already because he buffered it. But it's part of the charm also lah. You know, the scratches and the micro scratches, right?
Yeah.
It should
you look
be.
at these two watches that you looked at just now, right?
Okay. Hold up, let me call again.
No, it's going to be very hard to see it on screen. I just want to point out something to you. If you look at the sides of the watch, right? The top of the watch is here, right? And the side of the watch is here, right?
The corner.
Yeah. If you look at the cross section of the watch, top of the watch, side of the watch, okay? And then you have an edge, right, that runs along the entire side of the watch.
Are you talking about here?
Yeah, I'm talking about this edge.
Hold on, I'm going to try to reconnect. I think it's quite important to see it.
Yeah.
But
In the original watch, it doesn't meet directly. There is a bevel.
Wait, can you just say that again? Yeah, you explain it to me while they sort out the camera first.
Yeah.
You were saying?
So you need to look at my hands lah. Top of the watch, side of the watch, right? They
Okay.
come together at a point, right? They come together at a point.
Are you talking about this part over here? This one?
Yes.
This one, yeah, this one.
Yes.
This area.
The
Oh,
entire edge.
okay.
Okay. They come to a point, right?
Yeah.
However, the original watch did not come to a point like this. There is another bevel.
What the fuck? They means they shaved it lah.
Yep.
Yes.
Huh? They made it curve ah?
They polished so much material off that it lost the edge.
Oh my lord, you're right, way.
You see it?
Yeah. What the hell?
See, in the original watch, they had that bevel. You know what a bevel is? Right?
It's kind of like a...
It's like a table.
indent
It's like
lah.
your this table lah. You see the table has this.
It doesn't
Yeah.
come to a 90-degree point, right?
There is
another rounding off.
Yeah.
But sometimes the rounding off is also like a 45-degree flat plane.
Yeah. I see. It's basically a thicker line.
Yeah.
It's a thicker line on the here, right?
So if you do a cross section, one cross section is like that.
That means if you weigh the watch, also technically different already, lor.
For sure.
The case of it, the
Yeah,
case
yeah.
would be so different now.
Yeah. But
Wow.
if you have that bevel, basically that bevel catches light, right?
Yeah, and it adds to the overall face of the watch,
It
lah.
adds to the
Technically,
shape of the
Yeah.
watch, right? Once that bevel is gone, you cannot get it back.
it look become 2D,
Yeah.
become 2D watch, oh.
It's still a real watch. You know, if you're going back to the question, it is still a real watch. But now we have pointed out so many small things which is wrong with
It's
it.
so insane when you say that. Actually, I would have not caught that. It's very hard to see, to be fair. I don't know.
hard to see.
You're right.
That's
You're
why
right. Like, it's
even
very difficult.
on camera, like unless it's catching the right light at the right
It's
angle,
very hard to notice, to be fair. So if you are listening, we are on cam. If you look at it, I'm just going to try my best to verbalize this while Vincent is looking at the camera. So if you were to look at this part over here, right? And I know my fingers are really stubby, but basically there is, let's say this is the flat part. Sorry. No worries. Okay.
Okay, take one by one lah. Just
Yeah, I'll take one. I'll take one by one.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah,
I won't show the back. No worries. I know that over here is the surface, what you're saying.
Yes.
But over here, gone already.
Yes.
It's just flat.
It's just a
yes.
rounded,
Yeah.
soft.
The guy shaved it off basically. Basically, this is just like two planes. This is actually a third plane over here.
that is
Yes.
correct.
A third
That is-
plane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's already up.
It's just, bro, the guy shaved until so sharp like that lah. The shiny
Just
one.
to make it look
Shiny.
shiny and good to an unsuspecting
But it's
buyer.
but it's so difficult because to me, right, if you didn't even tell me this, right, if I didn't know about the history of this specific model, right, and there are two different models also. So if you didn't tell me about the case, I'm not a very attentive person when it comes to the minor details, right? But if I didn't know and you just told me, hey John, the significance of this watch is XYZ, right? I would have bought it. I'd be like, oh, cool, man. If an uncle told me, hey, John, I polished so nice already,
And I think that's the difference between like a dealer like us who are enthusiasts versus dealers who are not lah, who look at these as commodities lah. We've heard lah that people say, NextVintage, their watches got scratches and condition damn bad, but
They don't
we
know.
laugh at that lah because we know that these are obviously people who don't know what they are.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, because like we work so hard to get watches in original condition, but yet has the fewest amount of scratches because that's the
double filter also actually.
that's the challenge, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes the curation so difficult. Is that you want to look for watches that have not been refinished to the point where the lines and the shapes are gone, which means that they will have scratches.
Yeah.
But the amount of scratches still needs to be within a certain tolerance level that the watch still looks good, still
presentable.
looks beautiful.
Yeah. Wow, so tough. It's so tough. I think if you were a person that's new also, I don't know whether, I suppose it depends on the person's perspective as to what they prefer also lah, right?
Yeah.
Some of them, they maybe upbringing, maybe taste, they have always preferred no scratches, right? Because they like buying brand
Very
new.
common, very common.
And then when they, especially I think a lot of like Chinese people, we all like pristine. We like to flex a bit, if they have a nice watch. So I think if you go into vintage, to them it's like, how you buy so old watch for what? That's the common.
你買舊錶做咩？有新錶唔買，你買舊錶。
Because it's just the business way
Yep.
they were running last time, and their one Rolex is the one Rolex they bought with their first account they closed or whatever lah, right? So I think when they go into the second-hand market and then they buy vintage watches, to them it's like by default, I don't want a scratch already. And they won't know ma. Right. They just buy it, they don't know. It's just like, I would see the shiny one and be like, wow, quite
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's the difference between knowledge and ignorance lah. It's like, if you are knowledgeable about nutrition, fat is not the enemy, sugar is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're knowledgeable of vintage watches, you know that scratches are not the enemy, refinishing is.
Yeah. Because
So,
the mad, bro.
I got two questions, right? Sorry, let me go back to the question. I'm not so sure if you answer it. So during the process of buying out, right, would you recommend that everybody say, hey, we're going to buy, and the seller are to open the inside? So do you
Yes, I'll get to that because that's a very, very important point. I haven't forgotten it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not linked to what we're talking about right now, which is condition, right? External condition. So the question is then, how do you know external condition? And this one, I'm afraid there's no replacement lah. If you are serious about wanting to buy a good watch, I don't care from whom, whether it's from us, from somebody else, whatever, off the internet, eBay, whatever, is you have to do your own homework. If you're not willing to do your own homework, to look at pictures at what an original condition is supposed to look like for instance, picking out that there's a bevel there.
That's mad.
You know, if you're not willing to do that homework, then essentially you're not willing to buy the best that you can get. And that's fine.
It's not illegal or anything, but it's just...
Then go ahead, right? But if you are concerned about the future value of your watch and what you are going to be, whether you have any latitude remaining to clean it up at some point in future, then these things should matter. And the way you can do that is, one, buy the seller. Two, do your own homework.
So tough.
Okay.
It's so easy to say that also. I think, they do your homework, bro. Wow, bro. I think if I did homework, it was so hard.
Totally understand. I tell you, a lot of these things, it took me years to learn to see also. You can give me, when I first started out, you could give me a photo of an unrefinished watch and one that has been refinished, and I wouldn't be able to pick out all these small details. So, it's an acquired skill, but you can acquire it very quickly if you invest the time and if you are interested. If you're not interested, then to be honest, all of this is academic conversation anyway.
Where does one go to have at least, like for example, if I wanted to buy this specific the specific model, right? The specific Omega.
Yeah.
I know the model, I know the color, I know more or less what it looks like, right? Tells the date. What websites or what resource, what points of reference do you go to?
If you go that
check?
route, you are going to be spending a huge amount of time hitting a lot of brick walls. So the simple solution is Google that shit.
I'm Geminiing
Go to
it
us.
right
Go
now.
to us.
Oh, you're Gemini.
Just trying to see if I snap a photo of this Omega constellation, tell me what I need to
Actually,
know.
this is the goal of NextVintage. Like when you're buying a computer or you're buying a printer or camera, you go for a lot of websites. You go to website A, not sufficient enough. I have to read website B, I have to read website 3, website C. So this is actually what we're gonna do for NextVintage. That one page can satisfy everything.
It's a lot of models though.
Yeah, you just let's say in such a coincidence you are looking at this model, then we have it on stock. So you go to our page. Or you have usually we just do the size measurement, what's the size of this watch? Usually people give you okay, it's top to bottom.
Yeah.
But for him, he doesn't do that.
Is it left to right?
I'll give you top to bottom, I'll give you left and right, I'll give you lug to lug.
Oh damn.
I'll give you the insights, I'll give you from here to here.
Visual down.
Yeah. I'll give you visually how it's gonna look. Yeah. It might be 36, but on your wrist it might look 34. Just because it's less chunky, it's thinner. Yeah. So this is the goal. He
spends done all the work for you, basically.
Just use our site if there is a watch which appear. This is our goal,
How much time do you have in one day? What the hell, man?
Okay, so that's why
that's a lot of measuring, dude.
That's why our drops are only once every 2 weeks, and usually only 6 to 8 pieces, because it takes us 2 weeks to process all that shit. Right?
Because that's provided you find the correct model, in the correct condition.
I mean, even this is another can of worms. So I'm just going to think about our listings from top to bottom. First of all, we have a model reference for every watch, almost every watch, okay? The model reference is last time you said the Patek Ref 570. Ref means reference number. And every model of watch
has
a reference number.
Yeah.
Right? So with the reference number, you can start to begin your research. Without, it's very hard.
Because it's a specification of the model.
Because it's what you're going to call it, the Omega. You can only pick out what's on the dial, right? Omega constellation. There were about 7 or 8 constellation shapes. Which shape is this?
Yeah. Then you put that gold one.
Shape. But then they did, you say, gold,
silver,
solid gold. They had steel versions. They had different dial variations. They had different sizes and so on, right? So how do you even begin your research, right? Where do you even
That's why the ref number lah.
So 99.9% of our listings have a reference number. You go to most dealers in this price range, you're not going to get a reference number.
Why?
Because it takes work to find that shit.
They will usually just say maybe.
Wait, doesn't it say on the watch?
No, it doesn't.
It only
not
says
always.
it only says it's a constellation.
Yeah.
So if for someone who doesn't do his homework, he would have said
Constellation.
Yeah, he
They
would have
just say constellation.
Yeah, he will say Omega constellation.
But it says over here, I'm not wearing my glasses. Automatic
Chronometer.
Chronometer officially certified.
Yes.
Oh shit, that's not a lot of
That's
information.
not the name of the model.
Yeah, that's
Why don't they say the reference number? Because it's a vintage model. lah, that's
So
why.
some watches have the reference number on the back.
Uh-huh.
Some watches have the reference number on the inside.
Oh, that's why you have to open it up and shit.
Some have it on the movement, and some don't have it at all. So there are some Cartiers that you cannot find a reference number in the 70s, right? However, because the shape is distinct and all that, then the best we can do is say Cartier tank, Mas de Cartier, Vermeer, describe the dial, and we don't have a reference number.
That's a paragraph, lah, that one.
Yeah. So the listing title is longer.
Do you have an example of a watch with no reference? I mean,
Yes.
like this one, lah. I'm supposing.
No, that has a reference number. So basically, to find the reference number takes me sometimes hours at the computer. And that's why most dealers don't bother at this price point. If you're talking about six-figure watches, yeah, they do lah.
They better do lah, that one. Yeah,
They
yeah.
need to lah, So we do that, right? Then secondly, let's talk about history of a watch. The history, the significance of a watch, right? Whether the significance is to pop culture at that point in time, whether the significance is to
Historical
watchmaking
moment.
in general, whether it's to the particular brand. If you Google a particular watch model, you will find a lot of stories.
a lot of fantasies.
Which ones are true? Because a lot of them are fantasy.
Yeah.
People make up stories on.
Oh,
make
come
up
on. A lot.
People who make up stories
Just to sell the watch lah.
People who do a cursory search, right? And they just like,
They just take
they
a
eyeball some keywords,
The
and then
first
you
search
just
from
write-
Google.
write a paragraph around it.
Yeah.
Sounds real.
Sounds cool,
Sounds romantic too.
Yeah. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah. So that part to find the story behind a watch is not a few hours of work at a computer. It's usually a couple of days.
Wow.
So which dealer will do that? Right? Then we talk about measurements.
yeah, lor.
For some people, the measurements don't matter because they have not reached a stage where the way a watch wears is something they can discern. It's either like, oh, it looks a bit big or it looks a bit small.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're really into watches, then like the curvature of the lux, the way it holds your wrist or doesn't.
How it wraps
stands
around.
out,
Yeah.
what impact that has to the strap at the angle that they flow around your wrist, blah, blah, blah. All of these things you learn over time.
But that's also very difficult because a lot of people who buy watches also, I feel like it's either you are the hardcore enthusiast and you already know what works for you, or the
Correct.
people who are getting into it.
So regardless of who you are,
Yeah.
I put all that information there.
So at least
Because some people will be able to look at those numbers and immediately tell how the watch is going to wear.
that's
on
such
their
a
wrist.
small set of people.
Small set of people, right?
But at least I suppose it accommodates.
Then the bigger set of people don't care. Out of that bigger set of people, if you eventually get into watches and buy more than one,
And you.
now you have a reference point. Because the next watch you buy, you can look back at this one and say, I remember how that watch wore, right? It had these parameters and you have a reference point. I'll do it for you. There are some people who don't know, don't care, but the partner does. My wife here, hi wife. My wife here, maybe she doesn't know anything about watches and she came across our listing. She will say like, what is all this? What length? What is it? But the husband knows. The husband can then tell her, this watch is right for you or it's not right for you. There are so many levels to this, right? But I'm not going to take the lowest common denominator. I'll take the highest common denominator. Because eventually everybody needs to know this stuff.
I think you would really love Pokemon cards, man.
Pokemon cards. I'm scared.
Can you tell me of a story that took you days to research, but when you found it, you just thought like this is one of the most amazing stories?
Cool. This one.
You brought it also.
Yeah. So actually this watch has the same case, has the same shape case
making a phone
as
call
a
real
watch that is very famous and very expensive called the Sympathy by Roger Dubuis.
Sympathy by Roger Dubuis.
Yeah. So I don't know. Are you going to like
Yeah, we are.
What, Longines?
use Google or something?
This has a reference number.
I can't remember whether that's a reference number or
Could be a serial number.
It could be a serial number.
So production number.
My lord lah.
Wait. Toilet break.
Go for it, man.
So
Hold on, we're connecting. It's a bit complicated because my phone is also connected to... Yeah, there you go. Okay, Vincent's... Wow, this is some horror movie walking around like that. Here you go. Okay.
so this is a vintage Longines. But the
How much does this watch cost, if you don't mind me asking?
this is about 15.
Man.
Let me just you have Google, right?
Yeah.
Are we able to put Google search results up?
Can.
So if you can search for sympathy, but the thie is THIE.
Oh, SYMPATHIE.
And then Roger,
ROGER.
and then Dubuis, DUBUIS.
Is it not DEPUIS?
No, that's Dubuis.
Yeah, the Pui is
This is
since.
Dubuis.
Oh, okay.
DUBUIS.
Oh, it's minimal.
So if you look at the shape of this watch, and then now you look at the Roger Dubuis.
Why this shot has more of a dreamy effect? The side is like blur all of a
It's a
sudden.
bit off-center, off-face, the lens. Okay, so that's the Roger Dubuis. Just click on that. Oh, that's a very small picture.
No, you right click and then you...
Or you try that one. Some of them will be higher resolution than others.
Nick still don't remember how to right click open image new tab.
Just single click on the image. Don't open the new tab. Or it's a very small one. Or maybe you drag your window over.
You just
small.
yeah.
Okay. So basically, you can see generally the shape of the case, right? It's a octagonal, but each
Flaring
each
spikes.
each facet of the octagon is scalloped.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Roger Dubuis, few hundred K. It's a six-figure watch.
My God.
Okay, this is a six-figure watch. Now you go back to the Longines, your
Okay.
same shape, right?
Yeah.
Same shape, but it's 15K
sort of.
lah, around there.
15K,
around
ringgit.
So people were selling this as designed by Roger Dubuis,
But in Longines...
but it's a Longines, and therefore is your cheapest. The inference is that it's a cheaper way to get Roger Dubuis sympathy. They called this the Longines sympathy,
Oh, man.
designed by Roger Dubuis. Okay, so initially I was like, wow, very keen, because like, who doesn't want a Roger Dubuis at like a fraction, you know,
Of the
like
cost, yeah.
1% of the cost.
No worries. Okay. No, he's adjusting the lens.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, but you're saying it's at the
so
fraction of
it
the cost.
took me about a week to research this. So the timeline is like this. Roger Dubuis did indeed work at Longines.
Oh, he did?
He did. In the 1950s.
Okay.
Okay, he worked in the after-sales department, which means that he worked in the service center lah. Basically, he was doing repairs and service. Okay, he worked there for about, if my memory serves me right, he worked there for about 6 or 7 years, and then he moved to Patek Philippe.
Wow.
Right?
Then he created another sympathy.
Not yet. So he worked in Patek Philippe for about 14 years, if I'm not mistaken, and then he left. So he was in Patek Philippe in the 60s. So 50s he was in Longines. 60s he went to Patek Philippe. In the 80s he came out and started his own clock and watch restoration workshop. That was in the 80s. And in the 90s he came out with his own brand, Roger Dubuis.
Fucker's not dead some more. It's crazy, man.
Sorry, what?
The guy's not even dead. That's mad. That's like 50 years.
Yeah. And then he created the Sympathy.
Wait, what? So this was before the sympathy lah.
This was designed by Longines
But when
in
he
the
was-
1970s.
But not by him.
Not when Roger Dubuis was working there, because Roger Dubuis was working there in the 50s.
Oh, the guy was in Patek that time already, right? I think.
In the 60s, he was in Patek.
Yeah.
60s and 70s,
Yeah.
he was in Patek Philippe. So, dealers love to make this shit up.
Oh.
Okay? The timelines don't match at all.
How do you? Is it wiki? How do you know? Like, you
No,
have to-
it's multiple sources. I read interviews with Roger Dubuis that were written in French, which I then use Google Translate to understand.
what in the world?
Dealers don't do this. And that's why the amount of work I take on is a little bit nuts. He's always saying
Damn
that.
crazy.
Like, you know,
I don't even read that much.
crazy.
But people appreciate it, I feel. Because if you were to,
But now I know the truth. So now I look at all these listings out there that call this the Longines Sympathy by Roger Dubuis.
it's definitely not. He wasn't even there.
He wasn't there.
Damn.
Okay. So then that's one level, right? Took me about a week of research to find out the timelines and all this. I went one step further. I wrote to Longines.
Wow. Oh, yeah, he's hardcore.
Okay, I wrote to Longines and I said, this is the speculation about this watch, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I found out from the timelines. Here are my notations from the things that I found from interviews with Roger Dubuis, blah, blah, blah. And they came back and said, they basically corroborated.
They damn dulan.
Roger Dubuis had nothing to do with this watch.
Wow.
Until today, we still see people selling this as designed by Roger Dubuis.
Wow.
Okay. Not only that, there are people who, you see, this watch is a different watch, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the scallop shapes and
Doesn't
all that,
even have
right?
curve. Yeah.
But it's also a Longines and it's also from the same era, right?
Bro, I gotta say that color of that watch face is so nice. That dark blue. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's beautiful, this one. It's coming up in a future.
Also,
soon-
it's not
soon to
on
be
the store yet.
Yeah. So now there are people who say this one was designed by Roger Dubuis,
Oh my god lah.
who was inspired by Gerald Genta,
Oh my god lah.
who designed this watch, and therefore became the Bulgari Octo Finissimo, another watch which is a modern watch.
Bro, wow,
But
people.
I wonder why all these official sites, these brands, right, they don't clear up the air by publishing this is the official
Too
story.
many lah.
Too many.
Can I see that
I
watch
mean,
if
there
you
have
don't mind?
been millions
There's
of
actually
watches.
there's actually engravings inside.
Oh shoot, so we cannot show lah.
Okay, no.
You don't mind
The
lah?
dial is textured.
But do they start doing
There's a spiral
that
in the
with the
dial.
new watches that
Oh
they produce?
damn,
Yeah.
dude.
Do they start publishing like this is the official story of this specific watch?
Sometimes
Sometimes
yeah, for
they
some
do.
watches. lah. For some watches.
Is there anything private behind?
No, this
Okay.
one can wear.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we just name throw a lot of people, but Gerard Genta is also a very famous watch designer. He's the guy who designed the Royal Oak,
The Royal Oak.
the AP Royal Oak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because the Royal Oak is octagonal as well, and this watch also has 8 sides.
Wow, bro, I have to say, man, the dial is so chanted, man. Like that. Wow, man. That's so trippy also, actually. I just don't like how the 6 is cut off. I always have that, like, it bugs me so much when the number is cut off. I'm like, bro, you could have done so many things to... You could have just not put it there.
We get you. There's a lot of watches who complain why they put the date. Why is it just a little bit more to the left?
No, I mean, like, it's almost as if, like, you're doing PowerPoint and then you just like, hey, you know what? Fuck it lah. You know? Why?
actually, there's a reason why that
that 6 is covered?
no, there's a reason why that seconds that petty seconds has to be there. It's the movement.
I know lah, but like the design, you just don't put the 6 lah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, omit the 6 lah.
Yeah, just omit the 6 lah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can. Do
Then 40 years later, some people complain why they don't put the 6. Just put a
Yeah,
little bit
well,
also can ma.
it's taste lah.
Yeah, but
Individual taste.
just because this has 8 sides,
Yeah.
there are dealers who says this is Gerard Genta
Ah.
inspired
And they say that this is designed. They say that this watch is designed
by Roger Dubuis.
by Roger Dubuis, which is in the first place wrong.
So it's a wrong on
Wrong
top
and
of
a
wrong.
Yes. And then you have the wrong on top of wrong, right? And then you have clueless dealers who then copy
Copy
the
and
wrong
paste.
on top
Oh
of wrong.
no! Then they
And
spread
it
the
just
wrong.
perpetuates, and then they add on some more.
More fantasies.
The kerongan
fantasy.
is very long.
Yeah. So actually, this is all
Wrong one.
And the
for us.
kerongan.
It's very dulan, you know, because we do our homework.
Yeah.
We spend days to get the real story to it. But
Damn.
sometimes you have random sellers who just made up all this stuff just to make the watch very attractive to a ignorant buyer.
Definitely because they want to sell.
It becomes very hard
So
for
to
us
us,
to keep
it's
quiet.
yeah. To
about
us, it's anger. You know, we spend time giving you the real story, but for the convenience of someone else, just to sell the watch. Okay, we have this fantasy story.
Then you whack.
And they just whack the story out lah. So not to say we want to be the bad guy, but it's more of correcting what's the truth out in the market, because you're spending hard-earned money on the watch. That's not a cheap watch. That could be like 5,000, 6,000. This one could be 15,000. So you want to buy 15,000 of fake story, wear it to a watch gathering, and say, hey, this is designed by Roger Dubuis, you know or not? Then you have one nerd friend who comes over. Huh? What? Roger Dubuis? He was in the company until the 90s. Would that be the aftertaste you want? And
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, I mean these Longines we've been following the misinformation out there for quite a while, for over a year. And we've always kept quiet about it lah. But eventually we talked about it when we saw the latest one, you know, and especially after we have done all this research and contacted Longines, and they were actually very nice to give us, you know, their confirmation and all that.
You know,
we thought that if we don't say anything,
there's so much content that you guys have. Why don't you guys ever do like a publish content, do
Where
a
got
YouTube
time?
channel?
I honestly think, right, this is fantastic for your branding, you know. Honestly speaking, it's like, welcome to this week's Did You Know About This Specific Watch? Then
I
you
don't even have time to complete processing the watches for each drop. How are we going to make content?
Or you write up already, you ask a Langloi to go and do for you. Then she just reads it, and then she pretty face. Bro, I tell you, confirm people watch one.
But I think you don't even need to share knowledge on specific watches, but just basically whatever knowledge that you guys have right now.
Well, we're here, so you know you are.
But we're not
helping
Langloi
us
lah.
to do this.
Not willing to share with you.
No lah, but we're not a Langloi lah.
Yeah, lah, don't sell yourself short. You're quite hot lah.
Oh, thanks. Bro, you know if you have someone that tells you like a fun fact, did you know about this specific model? It's I think quite legit, man. It kind of makes you all feel as if like you are the authoritative place to
nobody
go to.
is lah. Generally speaking, everybody will make mistakes, but eventually it's like when the mistake surfaces, the question is how you respond to it.
That's true.
You know, we will get things wrong as well. You know, I don't know if we have gotten anything wrong so far, but I'm sure at some point we will get things wrong.
Then just owe up to the issue lah. You know, if really we saw a fake watch 2 years ago and it really comes back to us, then just admit it, you know. Oh, let's do a full refund or what's the
Admit it.
Yeah,
don't do a full refund.
Don't fight it, you know. Don't fight the thing and say no way it's wrong. Tell me who tell you it's wrong. Tell me who tell you it's fake.
I mean,
want
you
to talk to
would
the person.
verify also lah, but you wouldn't be so defensive lah, right? I think you also need to verify. Yeah.
I mean, we're all human lah. We all make mistakes, right? The defining thing of character is what happens when the mistake is discovered lah.
I was watching some videos about like, you know, mistakes that you need to avoid when you're like a first time vintage watch buyer, right? And hearing you speak out, right? It kind of makes me feel like, you know, you shouldn't avoid mistakes, but rather it's better for you to make those mistakes as fast as possible so that you can learn. So would you guys agree that, you know, in this journey of watch collection, right? It's better for you to make those mistakes, and how many mistakes or what is that the biggest mistake that you think is going to convert somebody from being a newbie watch collector to somebody who is a
More seasoned.
more seasoned?
Or have you all experienced a specific mistake that you all went like, you know, I think this is when you...
Like you cannot avoid the mistakes because without the mistakes you will never evolve, right?
So you're talking about mistakes as a buyer?
Yeah. Like these are the 5 mistakes that people would say you need to avoid, but in truth, these are the 5 mistakes that you need to make. Otherwise, you'll never get to the other side.
That's true. Or you at least try, you're aware and you avoid as much as you can, but bound to make lah, technically. You're bound to make lah.
You gotta fail your first business to be a successful business person. You know, something like
let's
that.
chill lah, bro. Let's chill lah, bro.
Okay.
I think because to me, right, I'm quite lucky lah, right? In the sense that every time I see someone makes a mistake, right, I'm like, whoo, damn boy, I better learn from that shit in that way lah, right? So I'm quite cautious. Maybe that's why I don't make enough mistakes. Touch wood lah, fuck, I don't make mistakes lah. But I try to observe law. But have y'all made a mistake so big before that y'all only learn from it after you've made it? Something like you oversight.
I can't really.
Okay. Before we did NextVintage, I'm doing FirstVintage, right? So I have sold watches which were not in the best condition 2 years back. Because I've been doing this for 2 years and this year is the 3rd year. So for my first year, I can confidently tell you, right, I have sold watches which could have break down within 6 weeks.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Only now I know what's the reason for breaking down and what's the reason it's faulty.
Oh, damn.
So I have cases where I have customers from 2022 who comes back to say, hey, actually, this watch is no longer working. And I take it back. I check what's the reason. And if I knew it was because of my ignorance 2 years back, then I do a full refund.
Wow.
So there have been cases like this.
How'd you know? Like,
okay, let's say
2 years ago, man.
Okay, let's say a watch is. Okay, let's not go too technical.
Okay.
But it was a watch with very bad beat error.
Beat error.
Okay, yeah. Let's not go too technical. The watch is working. It is accurate on average. In average, it is accurate. So I sold the watch. 2 years later, the customer say it's running. It's not working at all. So sometimes when the watch is not working, maybe there's gum or there's dirt inside a mechanical watch, which is just stopping that gear from spinning. So I take it back. I open it up, I free whatever is stuck, then I run it on the machine to see the accuracy. And once you see how messy the accuracy is, you know already it's not the customer's fault, it's your own fault. From years back,
Okay.
you should have sent the watch for a full overhaul before you sell it.
Oh.
But as a new seller, you just assume it was healthy enough to run for the next 10 years.
Because your method when you are a new seller is you put it on the table lah.
Yeah, you wouldn't have invested in the machine. You would have just put it in the table and make sure, for the past 48 or 36 hours, it's accurate to the minute.
Which we have seen also listings actually saying that.
Yeah. So we
place on the table in an
For
upright
36 hours.
position for 48 hours and it was accurate.
Yeah. Accurate to whatever it is lah. Yeah. I mean, I have done that in my starting of this hobby or this business. So if those watches actually does come back to me, which it has. Honestly, I can tell you, 2 pieces have come back from. I think we can say this lah. Last year we sold 1,000 pieces.
1,000 pieces.
Yeah, we sold 1,000 watch last year.
Wow.
Yeah, and
it's quite wild, man.
Yeah, 2 years back, I think I also sold 1,000 watch for 2022. So out of the 1,000 watch, it came back. 2 pieces came back last year, and I know it's my fault. If it's a customer fault, I also tell customer actually because there's water damage, or you actually went to play golf, or you went swimming with the watch and
Play golf also can.
Yes, there's a lot of cases. But if I know it's my mistake, I'll just tell customer, all right, it was due to I can see that there is movement, wear and tear from the movement. It's not your fault. It was due to whatever it is from my misunderstanding of how it works.
Yeah.
And full refund lah. Some customers are very nice. They'll say, okay, why not you just give me credit? I'll buy something else from the website. Then you just do the difference in the refund for me. And I say, fair enough. If you want full refund, I'm also okay, Yeah, because it's my fault. I wouldn't have fought and say no lah. You shouldn't have, you shouldn't have played this. You shouldn't have wore it for dinner. You shouldn't have wore it through the X-ray machine at the airport.
Because those are fundamental problems. It could be caused by the customers.
When once you put in a time grapher, you know it's your own mistake.
Well, that the machine is called time grapher.
Yeah, a time grapher. Yeah.
Well, can you Google that?
Time grapher.
TIME-GRAPHER.
So the mistake I'm talking about is, when the watch is like doing a tick-tock, right? It's basically you have a spring which is knocking a pin. So it's like tick-tock. So it makes the clock move. So this spring, the issue I had was the tick was longer than the tock.
Oh, damn.
You get what I mean?
Yeah. One way is faster than the other.
Yes, a good working watch could be like its balance. Or maybe the left side is just ticking more than the tock.
It's called the beat error.
Yeah, that's called the beat error. So the one which I sold, on average it was running good, but I didn't know that the tick or the tock was small. So more wear and tear. So sooner or later the watch will stop.
Oh, because
working.
over time the thing gets worse.
Yeah, because it's already not balanced. Yeah, this is what we use. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, can't you just do the same thing that you're about to do that you did to your customer? You bring the watch to the ones who sold it to you before, and they say, "Hey,
That's like back to your question. Yes,
your
now we are in
question,
this.
right?
Now we can do your question.
So your question was that I
How you know
actually
internal?
put off a couple of times already.
yeah,
is how do you know whether the watch is mechanically sound, right?
Yeah.
Are you supposed to just open it and eyeball it and therefore decide whether or not the inside is okay, right? Ask your dealer for time grapher data.
We have come full circle now."
Okay. If your dealer tells you, I don't have a time grapher, either A, they should not be a dealer, or B, they have the time grapher, but the data is so bad they're not willing to share it with you.
No. What?
So how a time grapher works, right? Very
Wow.
simple. You have three information in it. First is how fast or how slow the watch is running.
Variance.
Yeah,
It's called
that's the variance. How fast or how slow. Second is the amplitude. How far is your spring jumping? Is it just jumping a little bit because you have a pin? So it's knocking the tick and the tock, right? Is it moving very little because there's so much friction? It's just in the tick tock. It's very weak. Or is it very strong? It can do the tick and it can do the tock without so much friction.
That's amplitude,
Yes.
and it's expressed in degrees.
Variance
Like 270
and amplitude.
degrees.
Yes, because your how what's the degree of your spring is turning? It's turning 200 degree means it's very healthy.
Oh.
If you're just doing maybe 100 degree means your it's only moving
For the half only.
Yeah, it's only moving 90 degree left and right. And the last is what we just say bit error. What's the tick to the top? Is it balanced? So these three is the three defining terms of how healthy your watch is.
Yeah, and then there is a fourth one, which the time grapher doesn't tell you, but you have to manually do it, which is the power reserve. Is that the mainspring which holds all the power,
The kinetic energy.
all that power, right? All that potential energy, and then it releases it through that tick-tock mechanism, right? That's called the escapement. Release, 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 until eventually it drains, right? Every movement has a certain number of hours, which is the specified power reserve. Let's say 48 hours, 52 hours.
Before it
60,
stops, yeah.
Before it runs out of power, right? After that power is released through the escapement bit by bit. An old watch, sometimes if let's say it was originally a 48-hour power reserve, now it's down to like 36 hours because the spring is weak already.
Yeah, just
So it doesn't
imagine
hold so
imagine
much.
a spring, you keep pulling, so it becomes weak.
Yeah.
Same thing as a main spring.
Yeah, so we test that. That's the fourth element that we test that is not even in time grapher data, but we test it anyway. Then there's the fifth element which we test, which not everybody does. Like power reserve also not everybody does. But the fifth element that we test is winding efficiency, which is, self-winding watches, the automatic, that
the crown,
rotor that spins, right?
Yeah.
If the movement is not very healthy, the bearings may be worn, and so the rotor doesn't spin as freely as it ought to,
Yeah.
and therefore it doesn't transmit and store that
The
power
energy
into
into
the
the-
spring.
Oh.
Right? So that one is the only way is you have to wear it and time it.
So you have to
So
technically
that's a
wear
96-hour
testing period.
96-hour test that we do.
That's why it's not as simple as buy, clean it, take photo and post. Because he has to actually wear it out. Maybe he doesn't like the watch, but he's forced to wear the watch to test it whether it's
You
accurate.
should totally do a YouTube video on like a day with Weng Keong.
No, we had the Yamcha
I think everybody
sessions.
will fall asleep.
Yamcha sessions vlog, right? We should go Eco Botanic. Hey, we come here to visit. Let's check out.
Yeah, dude. Like, because it's like a behind the scenes, then people appreciate the work that you
But
put
I
in.
mean, all of this stuff we do because we want to make sure that when you buy a watch from us,
It's legit
your
lah.
future is protected.
I actually think like
You're getting a good watch.
the things that you guys say to a watch enthusiast is going to be so entertaining, especially somebody who is like learning it for the first time. I don't think people are going to be falling asleep to this.
I don't think they'll fall asleep
Yeah.
also. Because it's kind of a lot, man.
You have to be geeky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're only geeky if you watch the person geek out first, ma.
A time
Right,
grapher machine is about like 700 ringgit on Shopee.
Yes.
And if a dealer doesn't have one, what does this say about the dealer,
Yeah,
man?
bro. I was also wondering.
Yeah, I mean, like, either you not willing to invest that 700 ringgit to make sure that you deliver good products to your customers, or you have that machine.
And the rating is so bad that you don't even
The
want to tell
rating is so
people.
bad you don't want to share it, or you have that machine but you actually don't know how to use it.
Or maybe your machine rose up.
Or maybe your machine was up. Because
It's a
just
possibility.
because you have a time grapher, right, doesn't mean you are taking accurate data of it. I mean, I've bought a watch before where I took a calculated risk because I bought it from overseas, right? And I wasn't there. So this was
Shipped to you.
through word of mouth, after verifying the dealer and all that.
Oh, you mean the watch, not the time the time grapher? Or are you talking about, okay.
Watch. So I asked for time grapher data. And he said, I don't have it with me right now, but I'll get it for you this evening after he gets home. And the amplitude was shit. Okay, like Denson was saying, a good amplitude should be anywhere from 200 upwards. Yeah.
This the thing wasn't spinning. No power to spin.
This one, the amplitude was like 110 or something like that.
Damn.
Means there's a lot of friction causing the spring not to spin.
Yeah.
Oh.
But because I'm quite geeky, I know that if I can get this to the right price, I'll buy it. Like what we were talking about earlier, because I can fix that. Right? I can fix that, or I can send it out to somebody to fix it. Okay? So I decided to buy it anyway. But actually, the dealer didn't know how to use the time grapher because he had not fully wound the movement before he put it on.
Oh,
the time grapher.
shit.
So he was reading a section of the amplitude, which is in something which we call isochronism, which is like eventually the spring, as it loses power, it will create less amplitude.
I see. Because they wind it up. So
just
that's why
because you have a time grapher doesn't mean that you know how to use it either. Like even amplitude measurements can be completely off if you don't input the right what's it called?
Yeah,
lift
this one
angle.
very nut this one.
Yeah. So
But
it
he's
gets very dirty,
but he's very hardcore because you have assumed with a time grapher, you have just put the watch here and okay, let it run. Full wind, is it accurate? But for him, right, he will test it like this.
Six positions,
He'll
five
test it like
positions.
this.
I do five
He'll test it like this. The reason why he tests it like this because
with your wrist.
when you're walking, your wrist is facing down.
Yeah.
So he also tests it like this. Or when you want to go to sleep, then you put your table, he tests like this. Or when your head is like this. On some daily activities, he will test it like this.
So then we
not that
average
type
it,
of
right?
guy.
Yeah, average
so
it out.
Average it, and that means that when we tell you the variance is plus minus 15 seconds a day, you can believe it. It's not based on one
It's not
position.
just sitting here 15 because there are some watches which is not healthy. It is accurate like this, but once you wear it like this,
Yeah.
it runs crazy.
Because of the angle.
Yes.
If you spend the majority of your day driving, let's say, in
Oh,
the
it's
car,
at this
Yeah.
angle.
or if you're at a computer, right? Or if you're always on your
Walking.
feet, all completely different positions for your watch. And the accuracy changes as a result.
That is wild, man.
So,
So that's what we do.
he always spam the numbers to me.
How do you have time for your family, bro?
What family?
No, I mean,
That's mad, dude.
Let me just Google that. How do you spell fam?
Oh my god. They are just looking at you like, at it again. You're like,
so does this interest of watches, right, especially with how it's suitable with to people's wrists, right? Does this hobby of yours bleed over to how you dress?
No.
No.
Not at all. I mean, I dress like a fucking retard. The only thing nice.
you always
on
downplay
me
one lah.
The only thing nice on me at any one time is hopefully my watch.
But how do you feel about you're having such a nice, beautiful, luxurious,
I think it's
expensive
cool.
watch?
I think it's cool.
Doesn't the outfit should
No.
kind of not at all?
No, I mean, like, Denson's pretty stylish, I gotta say.
Don't like that.
I totally am the opposite. But I happen to think that if you dress like a homeless person, but you've got a really nice watch on,
I agree.
it's freaking cool.
I agree.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay? As opposed to you're in a suit and everything and you're wearing a very inappropriate plastic watch or whatever.
I agree.
That look does not work.
Yeah.
Or if you're wearing a watch that's oversized
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your wrist or whatever.
But I would care. I would care. To a certain degree. But I wouldn't dress in. I wouldn't dress in a suit or long sleeve. Those I won't. Yeah.
I see.
I'll make sure I'm wearing like a collar shirt.
So proper, man.
Yeah, I
proper.
mean he does dress up.
But we do
I'm
I dress up with not to dress up It's like whatever I'm wearing, my wife would make sure, we can, because like, this is somewhat like a content creator thing, you got to do wrist shot, you got to update your friends. So me and my wife will be like, all right, if you're doing a wrist shot, you always put it near to your clothes.
Why?
Because you will create the
Texture.
depth of field.
Oh.
Yeah, so your clothes have to be like some contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you take a photo, you turn your camera around, you got to put it from this angle.
Oh.
That's why
But I think for you, it's very effortless. You tend to dress nice without effort because you just generally have a sense of style.
I think Andrew's like that too. My brother also just automatically by default dresses much nicer than I do.
I'm gonna make history now. I'm gonna wear my first watch in probably 10 years.
No
I've been wondering from both this episode and the previous one, when are you guys going to say, can I try it on?
Oh,
I did try on the
did,
past.
right?
Yeah, I did.
Because I'm not into I'm not a fan of wearing anything at all on my
the wrist.
Yeah, on the wrist, or even I told my fiance I don't think I'll be wearing a wedding ring.
Wow.
Because I'm just not an accessory guy. But okay, tell me which watch
Is suitable.
best suit for. Do you wear on left or right? Is there a distinction?
Depends on the person, but I wear left because I write in my right
I
hand.
wear on right.
And
Yeah.
please feel free to take any
Play.
of them. I won't
Oh.
tell you which one is right for
Okay,
you.
all right.
Because
Come, pass me my phone. I can
subjective.
record that. You can record this moment, my friend.
Where you can see on cam when I became a fan. When did I get into the rabbit hole?
Which one would you wear?
Which one would I wear?
yeah. Which one speaks to you?
I don't know if this is the strap, but ever since I saw it for the first time, I thought, hey, this is pretty cool.
Bro, it's quite retro,
Are
man.
you a strap or a bracelet person? That's also very important.
Oh, man, I don't even know how to answer that, man. But okay, I'll go with my first instinct, which is this
Yeah,
one.
go for it.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me try to connect the watch.
Okay, I'll buy.
Pull out the phone.
I'll buy time for you, and maybe before I put it on, maybe you guys have some insights on how does watches speak to a newbie? Like, why did I, feel that I'm resonating? What does it say about me when I say, hey, this one catches my eye?
To me, nothing lah. It's just what you like.
It's just what you're like, okay.
But what would you say you like about this watch?
I think it's just the fact that it's so simple. Like, I mean, all of the watches are simple to a certain extent. I don't want to just say because it's shinier, the strap is shinier, but I just felt that the strap, it looks different. Yeah, mesh. It looks like something that is more unique than a typical leather lah. But then again, this is probably also a newbie kind of taste. I don't want to say I want something that is different. So this speaks to me. No?
Taste. Yeah, taste is completely subjective and it will also change over time. So
I know this is a very noob thing, but how do you actually wear a watch?
How do you find
this one is
Oh, it's
not,
very complicated, this one. You have to...
Wow, big complicasi, yeah.
Don't worry, we ourselves also have problems wearing this watch.
I see.
this one you need some muscle memory. You can still tighten it. I think
I think
a
it's
bit
fine.
loose,
I think it's fine, no?
I think just a little bit tighter would work better.
I gotta say, though,
Don't say it.
it looks good on you, bro. Dude, serious, bro. It looks pretty good on you, bro. Can I ask how much this watch costs?
Oh, sorry.
Or should we guess? I don't know whether I should guess.
You can guess, no worry, I can guess.
I never heard of
It looks good on him, man.
This watch looks good on me.
Yeah.
No, I don't
This is
think
how
I
they
look
pose,
good.
is it? With a hand.
I don't know how to.
I feel he will look good on the
What year?
Polaris.
Polaris.
Yeah.
What year was this watch?
This one is from the 80s.
Wow.
Wow.
Damn. Actually, it kind of looks like that, lah.
Yeah. It's pretty sexy though.
Looks like a guy that.
It's one of my favorite, one of my top 10 favorite watches from the last 9 drops, I would say. We've done 9 drops so far since late August, early September. I'm sorry,
Why
I
is it one
just
of your
realized I
favorites?
was talking without the mic.
Why is it one of your favorites?
Sorry?
Why is it one of your favorites?
I think it's because I think it looks great and also because it's historically really, really significant, this watch. not just to the brand, but to other brands as well. If we want to get into
please.
story mode again.
Please. I would guess it's maybe 8K to 10K.
Oh, lesser.
It's less. This is 5, this piece.
Oh, it looks quite nice, bro. Oh, under the light. Damn, bro.
His lighting is very good over here.
Shit, man. Okay, what's the story?
Okay, so this watch is called the Universal Genève White Shadow.
Okay.
Okay, Universal Genève is a brand that has died.
Sorry? No
that
more.
has
Yeah.
died, yeah.
Oh, damn.
But there is a chapter 2, which I will get to.
Rebirth.
Yes, exactly. So Universal Genève is a brand that used to be in the same league as Patek Philippe.
No kidding.
In fact, in most of their locations in Europe, they would always open next to Patek Philippe
Intentionally?
intentionally because it's like it positions them in the hierarchy.
Okay.
And in many locations, they were actually located between Patek Philippe and Rolex.
Wow.
And then in between is Universal Genève. So they were a high-end brand. But like a lot of Swiss brands, I think we talked about it in the last episode, they were decimated by the quartz
The Japanese.
crisis or quartz revolution.
Kena
depending
Pearl
on-
Harbor.
Yeah. They kena Pearl Harbor. And they lost their way. They never fully recovered from it. And so they died. Right? They were one of the casualties of the quartz revolution. However, in the 60s or is it 70s? I can't remember. Sorry, don't quote me on this. But at one point in time, they were really, really trying to separate themselves from their competition. Right? And so they had enlisted this guy called Gerald Genta. His name always keeps coming back up. He's the guy who designed the Patek Philippe Nautilus. No, did he design the Nautilus? He did.
He did.
Yeah. Huh?
Nautilus.
Nautilus he did.
Nautilus,
And
yes.
Royal Oak and this watch
And this watch.
Can I see that one?
and that watch. So he's a very
Omega.
prolific designer. And you know, a lot of his designs were like landmark watches that are
Iconic,
until today iconic and all that. So designed this watch, right? The White Shadow.
In the 80s?
In the 60s or 70s, again, sorry, my history.
No, I
is
mean,
a bit-
he designed this in the 80s. You guys were saying this is more.
No, this particular unit is from the 80s.
Okay.
And it gets more interesting. So, okay, it's the 60s. So in 1966, he designed and they launched the first White Shadow. Okay. 2 years later, Patek Philippe launched what is one of their iconic watches that remains iconic today, which is the Patek Philippe Ellipse.
ELIPS.
ELLIPS.
SEO, like ellipse. Okay. Patek Philippe ellipse. Okay.
Which looks exactly like it.
Oh shit! Serious?
So people think that Patek Philippe is like infallible, right? They're like this massive top tier brand, whatever, but they also copy lah.
Oh my god!
So Patek Philippe copied Universal Genève. Okay.
Damn.
And this one kind of died and got forgotten because the brand died. Whereas Patek Philippe until today continues to carry the Ellipse, a very desirable watch.
And it looks something like this.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly like this?
Yeah.
Bro, Google that shit, Nick, please. Patek Philippe ellipse.
So, this particular unit is very interesting because it's not from the 60s. So, if you remember, the White Shadow was 1966 and the Patek Ellipse was 1968, right?
But the Patek one look a bit, I don't know lah, to me a bit feminine lah. Is that the word I'm looking for? No,
Is it because the one you're looking at is on the
Strap.
leather strap?
No, it's not. It's on the mesh as well.
Oh, this is the modern one.
Oh, is
That's
it?
the modern.
Look a bit feminine to me. Maybe this one is quite nice. The one with the leather. But although you just said leather strapes feminine, so I'm judging my own taste right now. Am I a feminine man? I also don't
Neither
know.
of them are feminine. I mean, it's perception only.
But I quite like the blue lah.
So basically, this one is from the 80s. Like, why so late?
Yeah, the bottom right.
Wow, that shit, the gold face was so nice.
So that's the vintage one.
Damn boy.
Second from the right.
So
Second from the right.
this is actually very similar.
Oh, with the blue face,
I
but
gotta
the mesh.
remember to be in front of the mic.
That's why you wear the headphones. Yeah. But wow, it does look nice on the blue.
Yeah, we had a blue version of this.
Oh, shit.
2 drops ago. Yeah, but that one the price was twice this lah.
10.
Yeah, it was about 10.3 I think.
Damn. Oh, I think I saw it. Yeah. I think I saw it.
Beautiful, freaking beautiful watch. I think this is beautiful as well. But yeah, coming back to this one,
Vincent's got good taste.
This specific one is special because Universal Genève, high-end brand, known for their own mechanical calibers, their own mechanical movements and all that. And then they were killed by Quartz, right? This was in their last-ditch attempt to join the Quartz bandwagon. So they actually made a Quartz caliber for this particular...
This was their last hurrah.
This was their last hurrah. This was their last kopek to try and survive. But eventually they crumbled as well. So these Quartz versions of the White Shadow were made in very, very small numbers. Because soon after they died.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually exceptionally rare, this particular Quartz version of the White Shadow.
Damn, man. So crazy. Oh, sure.
Stories here. A lot of stories.
You gotta buy that already.
I thought it was so bad it was like flipped over.
Cost a dent.
Dola.
So I think
Wild, man. That's wild. But what made them come back? How did they make that comeback?
Yes, the chapter 2. So last year, or is it year before last?
Last year.
No, wait, just last year?
Yes, last
2023?
So they were-
2024?
They were bought by Breitling. So the rights to the brand was bought by Breitling. And Breitling has said that by 2026, they will relaunch the brand.
Wow.
So everybody's now like waiting, like to see what's going to happen with Universal Genève. So for the non-watch world, nobody's ever heard of Universal Genève because it was such a long time ago, right? But for everybody in the watch hobby and watch enthusiasts, they're all like keeping their eyes peeled. And there's also a lot of speculation on Universal Genève watches because they are thinking that if Breitling does a good job in the rebirth of the phase 2 of the brand, then all the vintage ones, the values are going to go up.
Wow.
Especially if the condition is good.
Wow, good
But
investment.
I don't know. I'm not going to tell anybody it's an investment because it's speculative, whatever. There is a possibility, but you should buy the watch because you love it, not because you think it's going to go up in value.
Could be both.
Right.
Could be both. Could be both, Vincent. Could be both. What are your thoughts? What do you guys feel on Breitling actually? Because my mom always says that she doesn't like Breitling. I don't know why. She doesn't like Breitling. She doesn't like what's that one that looks like a pilot, B&H? It's like a Bell and Ross. Yeah, she doesn't like those two. I don't know why she doesn't like it. Is it like a preference thing or is it like a reason why people don't like it or what? No?
Yeah.
No feels?
Opinion
No
about either of these two.
No feels,
No feels. But I've heard people say it's because they over market themselves. Over
And Hublot also. Hublot
Yeah.
also a bit like...
Yeah, same as
Hublot.
over sponsored themselves in
Ah.
in the football world or whatever it is. But to me, I feel neutral. Like you like a Bell and Ross, they like a Bell and Ross, like
Yeah, I think it looks pretty dope actually.
Yeah, it looks.
Like my mom
It's
kind
the the clock on the plane.
Yeah, it's
it looks.
chunky,
Yeah, it looks freaking cool.
Yeah.
But like how casual watch collectors or enthusiasts are, what's the resale value? It matters.
I see.
You don't want to lose money. For us, it's important not to lose way too much money in the hobby. You lose 5%, 10%, okay lah. But for Bell and Ross or Breitling, you could be losing 60% or 70% of the watch. So I think that is into the conversation of what casual people are talking about. Then maybe that's where the negative impact comes in. Like, hey, don't buy a Breitling. Like, you buy 20,000, it might be 6,000 by the time you bring it out to the shop, or like similar Bell and Ross. But design aspect wise, I love it. I would want to wear it, but
Doesn't fit your wrist or
don't resonate with this type of
design
aviation
or style?
Yeah, aviation style. Doesn't resonate.
Earlier, you guys were mentioning about how the watch sort of matches the person's wrist, right? Do you think that watch matches Vincent's wrist?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Matches better with a 5% discount.
This particular one you're talking about?
Yeah.
You got a time grapher.
You need to just wear it slightly tighter so that the curvature matches your wrist a bit better.
I see.
It was a lot of gap on the sides.
Yeah.
But do you think it's also preference, right? Because my mom always says you should wear your watch a bit looser.
One finger.
Or one finger. I hate to wear loose, you know. It makes
It's
me look
preference,
so
it's
yeah.
preference.
And I feel like I have quite a shitty looking wrist. I don't know why. Like, I feel like my hands look so feminine, you know. So every time I wear a watch,
Can't be
right?
as feminine as mine, bro.
I
I've got
don't know, man.
long feminine fingers and shit. Like I've the full 9 yards right here, bro.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because I look at, you know, the thing they always say about artists, right? I was just talking to Nick about this. Artists find it very difficult to draw hands, and that's why AI is so bad with hands,
Yes.
because we see hands the most,
Yes.
right? And you see your own hands every day, right? Unless you're blind, but you know. But for me, I always find, right, that my wrist, right, does not fit many watches. That's why I always go for the chunky stuff one. I always go for big
Actually,
watches.
it should be the inverse.
You should go for like slim.
The smaller, if you have a smallish wrist and you think that your wrist looks feminine, right? If you go for something slightly smaller, it doesn't have to be like dramatically tiny.
Like a Cartier, the slim type one.
No, just like whatever. Let's say your Apple Watch, right? Your Ultra, right? Which is massive.
The chunky one.
Yeah. If you go for something just a little bit smaller, like let's say the 46, I think it is.
Yeah,
now,
the regular.
your wrist looks bigger. I mean, it's like it's relativity, right?
Yeah.
And framework, right?
I suppose it's the person's forearm to the size of the hand.
Yes.
You know.
So if you are smaller in stature, if you wear something big, you look smaller. You realize that, right?
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Because
Yeah, that's
you
true.
have
Because it
your-
makes it look like you're
Your
shrunk.
frame
by
of
the-
reference, right? But if you, let's say for instance, if you have, I think you know this, right? If you are bigger and you wear something smaller, you look even bigger. Correct?
Look a bit weird lah. Yeah, true, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you are petite,
So like if a small person driving a huge pickup truck is going to look tinier, right?
yeah, that's true. That's
a small person driving a Kalisa looks okay, proportional.
true. Yeah. Like when Shaukat came up with his car, I'm like, bro, this guy look fucking jacked, bro.
BD, man.
Bro, Shaukat is just the wrestler we spoke to last week. Dude, the guy was so jacked.
But coming back to like those brands that you talked about, I think like the enthusiasts tend to like brands for their authenticity.
What do you mean by authenticity?
Authenticity. So like Hublot is a brand that for a long time did not make anything terribly innovative and whatever, but were charging ultra premium prices for it because they were trying to build the brand on the notion of visible luxury.
They also did a Manchester United watch. That's how I know about them.
Oh, okay. I
They,
don't know about
they
that.
did an Nespresso watch.
What in the world is a Nespresso
Search for-
Hublot watch?
Yeah, search for Hublot
Bro,
Nespresso.
Google that shit, bro. Nespresso Hublot
Yes.
watch.
Yeah,
It's one of the worst collabs ever.
the
But
authenticity is not there because they did not invest a lot of R&D into their own movements, into the materials that they were using, but they were like
Jesus, take
hyper expensive watches
quite gaudy, huh?
that the very wealthy gravitated to because it was so expensive and therefore it was a flex to have one on.
to show your wealth, lah.
But the substance wasn't there. So the authenticity wasn't quite there. And so a lot of enthusiasts don't like Hublot as a brand.
But I gotta admit, Justin would look good in it.
Similarly, Bell and Ross. Right?
Oh.
Bell and Ross, they look like they have all these ties to aviation, but it's all manufactured.
Oh,
Because it's actually two French students, I think it was business school, when they were in university, they decided that they were going to become business partners and start a watch brand. And so what they did was they contacted this German manufacturer called Zinn, which
so
is
they're
also a
French
brand.
people who contacted a German guy to do it.
Yeah. And not long ago, I mean, like, this is not like during World War or whatever. This was like maybe 20, 30 years ago.
Bell and
like,
Ross?
yeah, 1980s or 1990s or something like that. So
that's
they
quite
don't
recent, huh?
they don't have deep heritage, lah, Bell and Ross. So what they did was they went to this brand called Zinn, run by a German flight school instructor as well as pilot called Helmut Zinn, who makes his own brand of watches, which is Zinn.
Okay.
SINN.
Yeah, S-I-N-N.
But why is it pronounced Zin? Because it's German. All right.
Because that is the way.
Oh, it's survey, I guess.
And so essentially the first B&R watches were Zinns, but they just had a
They branded it as Bell and
logo.
Ross.
And then eventually they realized that the design language resonated with people. You know, all this sort of aviation dial, they look
The
like
style,
cockpit dials,
stylized,
whatever.
yeah.
And so they doubled down on it and they created those square fascia looking.
But it's a circle in a square.
Yeah.
It's quite nice, I feel. But then I feel my mom's like so basic. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, okay.
So if you know that bit of history and you look at their marketing and advertising and, you know, they never ever say that they started with aviation. But all the imagery is aviation.
yeah, the photos they take also very...
So
Yeah.
authenticity is not there. They didn't start from aviation, you know, but they have doubled down on it so much that, you know, it's like Ipoh white coffee.
Oh, wait, you're telling me that it's not from there.
Old Town white coffee.
It's not from Ipoh?
I don't know. Are you about to
Is
tell
it
us
not
that
from
Ipoh?
He's from Ipoh. You're from Ipoh,
I'm from
remember.
Ipoh, lah, but I mean, beside
Yes.
the point, if you look at their marketing and their communications, they say the origin of white coffee. Do you see the play of words there?
The origin
They
of...
never said they are the original white coffee. They say the origin of white coffee. You see the difference?
Wait. Have I been living a fucking lie? The origin of white coffee means it was founded there, lah, right?
No. If they said Old Town white coffee, the original white coffee, then they
it's
are saying
the first,
they originated it lah, because they are the original.
But they're quite trash. So even if they
But
brand it, I won't
instead
believe
they
it.
say Old Town white coffee, the origin of white coffee.
It's either the guy's English not the best, but origin can also mean the beans are
You
from
used
there.
to be
is it?
in advertising. You should know this. You cannot believe everything you read, right?
100%, but I was in events for 8 years after that, so maybe things have changed a bit, yeah. But the origin would mean it's the beans are from there or what?
No, it
Single-
just means that they celebrate that history of white coffee. So if you read all their marketing materials, you read the first page of the menu, they tell the story of how white coffee was created.
But it's never said from Ipoh.
They never said they did it.
Oh.
They never said it's from Ipoh. And they never said they are from Ipoh. However, your brains put that all together, right? And you think like, oh, they must have originated white coffee. Same thing with Bell and Ross.
I gotta tell my wife this, man.
They think, you know, people who
Bell
look
and
at
Ross
all
or
the imagery
Ipoh?
and all that, they will think that, oh, Bell and Ross, you know, they must have plucked it out of a cockpit.
Yeah. It does look like it,
turned
you know.
into a watch.
Have you seen a Bell and Ross?
No, I've not. I definitely know the name.
Yeah, you Google Bell and Ross watch. It's it's like in gardens, you know, you go escalator, it's all there.
Yeah.
And then the third one you mentioned is Breitling, right?
That
They
one also
actually were aviator.
That one I know. It's,
So
yeah.
Breitling has a strong following and enthusiast community.
And it's also older, lah. I think, right? They got a bit of
Breitling
like,
has been around. It's a heritage brand.
Yeah. But how do you become a heritage brand? Is it the years you put in?
Yeah, the years you put in.
Because like, you know, there are a few watch brands that like are out and about, right? And I always wondered, wow, that glow in the dark one, damn sick, man. Shit. Damn Tron, way. Damn. No, down. Never mind. You missed it already. Never mind.
You see, it looks,
Yeah, it looks like a flight
flight
instrument.
Bro, it's damn sick, lah.
Speaking of
got-
heritage, right? I do not know where I went to, like some old town, don't know where, like which state. And then I saw this restaurant that says that's starting to go into heritage branding since 1989.
Wow, okay.
Bro,
89.
I'm born on
88.
1989.
Oh, I thought you
That means
88.
I'm
Okay.
heritage also.
Damn, bro, Vincent. Heritage, bro. Heritage,
like,
lah. You're a living heritage, bro. I don't know how do you. What is the landmark year you have to achieve before you become a heritage brand?
50 years? 50 years is like you will
Cannot
feel-
be, what? Cannot be.
No lah. I mean, you just have to have enough. You just have to have enough depth of history, to be able to. And that depth of history, you can do it in 150 years or you can do it in 60 years. But if in that 60 years you've made illustrious strides, right, as a brand, then you will be considered a heritage brand as well.
Or you can say maybe 3 generations. 3 generations is fine. I'm continuing this legacy.
That's definitely fucking more than 50 years now. Okay, but I have a question, right? A lot of times we link watches to historical moments. Like, for example, you were saying, how it's the death and the rebirth of this, and then it's how this artist had moved from this to this and all that. But have there been any watches that were made famous because of a momentous Malaysian occasion?
Malaysia.
Yeah. Like, for example, I don't know, like Tunku Abdul Rahman making a speech at a certain location, or
But you will need a Malaysian watch company to begin with.
Not necessarily. You can wear a Rolex and then do that, and then that watch.
Oh, there's one.
Is it?
Yes, the Ballon Bleu.
The fuck
Won
you
by
lah, okay.
Rosberg.
But apart from her, because it's the only one I know,
Not that I know. I know a lot of Malaysian politicians wear Hublots lah, which says a lot.
because they don't have to see.
They are the best gifts.
They're the best what?
Best gifts.
A visible luxury.
No, I mean
Visible luxury.
Yeah.
But there are no Malaysian momentous occasions or not. Because
There probably are lah. I just don't know any.
But do you think that would propel the watches, that specific model's popularity? Because sometimes like when
For sure.
right?
Not for Malaysians, but like celebrities.
I know there was this viral Omega with Swatch, is it?
Oh, the MoonSwatch.
MoonSwatch.
The most of it was a very good marketing.
Yeah.
Event.
But does those watches have like any resale value?
Initially, yes, because
are we
initially
going
it was
into
right.
uncharted territory here?
Wait,
Weng Keong's
no,
face suddenly fucking flip, bro.
Every watch you
He
bring
threw-
into
yeah.
the conversation is
He threw a very random thing, like Omega's watch. It was like it was big, no doubt. It
Yeah.
was big 2 years back.
It was mad, bro.
It was mad,
The lines
yeah.
were crazy, dude.
It was like when shoes, when like the Yeezys.
Yeah, when Yeezys drop, yeah.
when Yeezys drop, everybody was queuing up in Pavilion. So it was the same thing for Omega Swatch. Everybody was queuing up for Pavilion just for this plastic watch. And
Plastic watch.
it is
It is,
plastic.
bro.
It is.
It's recycled material as well, right? Like,
they call it bioceramic lah.
But it's
but-
plastic. It's not ceramic, it's plastic, yeah. Like, it's like a... Yeah, it's I mean, I can't resonate with the watch, so I'm having very difficult words with it.
Do you think-
I don't think he likes it.
No, I don't.
You don't, right?
why?
It's trash, basically. I can say that. I'm not a watch fan.
It was a very...
trash.
It was a...
Unless
You
they
don't like
sponsor
it,
this
right?
podcast, bro.
Okay, I kind of like it, but he can say why he doesn't like it first.
Okay,
I don't like
why do you not like it?
Yeah.
It's another 20 minutes, bro.
It's okay, man. Unless you want to go.
Quick one.
Okay, I'll try and summarize
yeah.
it. I don't like it because I think it's overpriced for the quality, right? And I think Swatch actually makes some other higher quality watches for less than what you are charged for MoonSwatch. Secondly, also, I think it's like I don't like the company politics at play that led to the creation.
Oh,
of
I
the
think you told me
MoonSwatch.
this before. It was a pressured move by Swatch, actually.
I mean, we don't know, but you can sort of read between the lines lah. The Swatch Group
Bought over Omega, right?
owns Omega, right? And the Swatch Group owns Swatch, the brand.
So to elevate Swatch, what would you do?
And Swatch, the brand, has been on a steady decline since the Apple Watch. You see, a lot of luxury brands, they're not threatened by the Apple Watch so much because clearly every consumer looks at these two things and realize they are completely different.
It's a luxury
They're
item.
not competing against,
Tech, ah.
each other, right? However, when you start to look at Swatch and an Apple Watch, especially the more expensive swatches, 1,000 something, right? Because they
share,
are made
yeah.
of metal, whatever. And they are not watches you take kind of like seriously like you would, let's say, a Rolex or an AP or a Patek, right? The Apple Watch has basically killed the low end of the Swiss watch industry. Okay? And are continuing to kill it. So Swatch has been basically dying as a brand.
So desperate.
So Swatch, Omega, Blancpain, Breguet, blah, 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 all these other brands owned by the Swatch Group. So Swatch Group is saying we need to freaking save Swatch because they are the only brand we have in our entire portfolio that captures dollars from the low end, right? Because every business needs to capture business from various tiers, right? So low end, we only got Swatch, and we got to save that brand because the Apple Watch is killing us, right? So how can we get people excited again about Swatch?
I see.
So you take another brand that you own, which is Omega, and say, excuse me, Omega, what's the most popular, most storied, biggest heritage watch you have? Speedmaster, right? Okay, done. You are going to give this other company the right to reproduce a 1-to-1 version of your Speedmaster at about 1/20th of the price, make it in plastic, and you're not going to protest. In fact, we're going to call it a
Omega
Speedmaster on the dial.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't agree? Shut up. I'm the parent. I'm the parent company. So, okay, we're going to do that. And they did it.
Oh shit.
And they did it in like 7 colors or whatever.
Yeah, it's all the planets, man, right?
Planets.
Yeah,
Now
Mars.
now there's like lava, ice. Oh
Yeah,
my
now they like
God.
just iterating and iterating.
And they
I
spit
just
out.
don't like that. I don't like the fact that the Speedmaster has such a vibrant collector community because there have been so many versions in the past. And there are certain things that are sacred, like the way the lugs are shaped. They're called lyre lugs. The way on the bezel you have this thing called ./90 for certain vintage versions. It's going to get very geeky.
It's okay, man. I'm actually quite interested because before this, and just a bit of context, right? I never thought Omega was a cool brand.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember when I was 13 or 12 years old, some shit like that, right? Getting into my teens, I watched my the first Daniel Craig 007.
All right.
And James Bond, and I'm a fan of James Bond, has always won a Rolex. If I'm not mistaken. And
Sean Connery version.
and then when it was Craig's turn, he wore an Omega.
Actually, it started with Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, is it? He started wearing
Pierce
Omega.
Brosnan was the start of the Omega relationship.
And I was like, wow. And he even says it in the movie.
Yeah.
She's like, is that a Rolex? Then she's like, Omega. Then I'm like,
Then she goes, beautiful.
yeah, I'm like, I want to be Daniel Craig lor. And that's when I thought like, wow, actually an Omega is very nice, but my mom is very against it. She's like, just go buy a Rolex. Then I'm like, no, I don't know.
Yeah, so there are certain things
I want to be Daniel Craig.
within the Speedmaster community that are kind of like considered sacred. Right?
Yeah.
People who collect Speedmasters, like the ultimate one is the Lyre Luck version with the ./90 bezel. And there are Speedmaster collectors
This
who
is
like,
this is a good comparison. This is a very
That is so fucking nice, man. The right one.
that's the real one. That's the
Dude,
one
what the
plastic one.
shit? Wow.
So there are people who go through a collection life cycle before they finally get to a ./90 version. Okay. It takes them years, it takes them 7, 8 Speedmasters before they find the right one or can afford it because they command a premium. The plastic version has ./90.
Oh
So-
man, that cheapens it so much. That just steals people's.
It just pulls the rug out from the entire loyal community.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I just thought that smelled really bad. It was such a cash grab. And no doubt they sold millions and it served its function of saving Swatch because people were interested in Swatch again.
I think it also, it does cheapen Omega to a certain extent. It does make that like you were saying, it smell, But at the same time, I feel right, because of that, I have observed so many people going into buying watches after
Yes.
that. And it's some form of a revitalization of like time wear.
It kind of became cool to have something on your wrist again.
Yeah, because people want to kind of show off that, I can afford a 1K watch and like I'll be straight up
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
managed
people.
to cop this,
Yeah,
You don't have a...
Yeah, and I think it's quite cool. Actually, if you ask me also, hey, you want? I'm like, I don't mind right? It's quite dope I feel. It looks like you're a cool kid, that thing.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
cool. 2 years ago,
I
super
feel
cool.
personally, I think all of that was good,
Yeah.
personally. But I think that they could have done it better. Lah. They didn't need to make it a 1-to-1 copy. Right? They could have left out a few of the so-called sacred details.
The 0.9.
Yeah, that dot over 90 thing. You know, like they could have left those things out. And your same person who was never interested in watches before, but gravitated to the MoonSwatch because it looks damn cool, would have bought it without the dot over 90. They would have bought it without the Lyre Lux. They would have bought it without all these tiny little details that are so sacred to Speedmaster collectors. I mean, I'm not a Speedmaster collector. I don't like Speedmasters, but you know, I feel for these people who spend their entire collecting career, so to speak, working up to a dot over 90 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They could have done it a lot better. They could have done it tongue in cheek. I thought the name MoonSwatch is brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, because the Speedmaster is called the Moon Watch.
But why?
Because it was
Went
the
to
first
the
watch
moon.
on the moon.
Oh, what the fuck? The guy wore
Which
it on
is
the
another
moon.
story. Yeah.
The guy wore it on the fucking moon?
Yes.
It was supposed to be the Rolex which went
And
there.
it also saved
Okay, very long
it
story.
also saved the astronauts in the failed Apollo 13 mission.
Read yourself, Google yourself, Google yourself.
What the fuck?
You know,
Yeah.
Apollo 13 was a failed mission, right? They lost oxygen and power on the way to the moon. This was not the moon landing. After, I think it was three missions.
This is the
after
one where they
Apollo
did
11.
using the gravity
the
to
slingshot
shoot themselves back one.
Oh shit.
Around the
Like Matthew
moon.
McConaughey the way back.
No, the Matthew McConaughey one is Interstellar.
I know lah, but you know, he like, this is 2 podcasts back to back, me referencing Matthew McConaughey, that's why.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
damn.
so they didn't have instruments. So Houston told them you have to time your boost
So you can slingshot.
exactly 14 seconds to slingshot around the moon. And they used their Omega Speedmasters to time the...
Holy crap.
That is amazing.
This is why all promotions of the Speedmaster is
Always
all about
space,
the moon.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they are very sick of it. They always
very
say,
sick of it.
Yeah, they say, isn't there anything else you can promote for Omega? Is it always about the moon? Is it always about being the first watch? Actually, they are first watch in the moon, but not the first watch in the space. Space is actually a
remember
Russian
last time when I
watch.
studied Omega, there's 3 things that they always shout about. One is the moon, the other one is they went underwater. Then after, no, not that one?
They have the Seamaster.
Seamaster, yes,
But
yes.
they weren't big in underwater because Rolex was the one who was big underwater.
It's the submariner, man.
Yeah, but I understand where he's coming from as well on why he hates this, because he reads into all this secret, all this design language and stuff. Like for me, I have never read into that, but I can resonate if Cartier makes one of my favorite watches into this plastic shit, I would have got mad as well.
True.
But by making that, I bought one myself because I know I'm not gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy a Speedmaster. I'm not gonna spend 30,000 on a Speedmaster. But
Wait, so you have a MoonSwatch?
I have not a lot. I have 2. I have a Snoopy one because I love.
What is enough?
Okay, basically
We
there's.
cannot be
Okay,
friends.
you should Google the Snoopy MoonSwatch. So okay, basically Omega and Snoopy has a very good relationship because Snoopy, there's like the astronaut Snoopy with the moon story, everything. So it's a very big
Because
thing.
Snoopy is looking at the moon or
Yes,
something.
there's the moon thing, yeah.
Oh.
So
another rabbit hole there.
Oh.
for another
there is a Speedmaster which has a Snoopy. So when you press the chronograph, right, the Snoopies fly around the moon.
What
What?
the
14 seconds.
Yeah.
14 seconds to fly
Yes.
around the moon? Oh my god!
So also that one is the blue one. You go. The second one. This is the expensive. This is the real Speedmaster with.
The Snoopy one.
Yeah, that's the Snoopy. So NASA has a relationship with Snoopy.
Snoopy.
which
Why,
I won't get into because
yeah,
there's
yeah,
another
yeah.
20 minutes.
So basically, they make the cheaper version, which is the.
Wow, bro. Actually, the left side is so nice.
You go back to the. Sorry, go
That's
back
the
to
MoonSwatch lah, right?
Yeah, go to the white one. On the second photo. Sorry.
Top left.
Yeah. So if you go in, you actually have 2 Snoopies on the moon. On the moon face.
Oh, it's too small.
Yeah. But you can go back to the page, they have the zoom ins. Yeah, so you have the black one and the white one.
Oh.
So you have a Snoopy and the moon and the Snoopy glows in the dark.
Snoopy goes.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Oh, damn.
Very, very cute.
Actually, gotta say lah, it looks quite dope lah.
Yeah.
Although I fucking hate Snoopy lah.
No, then you should see the video of the Snoopy which he turns on the real Speedmaster.
Just to let you know what is dot over 90.
You see that 90?
You see the 90,
On the far left there,
90
right?
Yeah.
on the tachometer.
Yeah.
There's a dot over the 90.
Oh, because the other dots are next to the number, but that's a dot over the 90.
So
Freaking
in
nuts.
most executions of the Speedmaster, the dot is next to the 90.
But that
But
specific.
there are some specific references where the dot is over 90.
Wow.
And those are the treasured ones.
Wow.
And they put it in the plastic version.
Oh no.
Don't say like that, lah.
That's what they did.
You know, this is a bit of a tangent, right? So this is about Pokemon cards as well. but you just hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
You were saying, why is it always got to be about the moon, right? So long ago when I was a kid, we used to buy Pokemon cards, and we all stupid lah. Just go play only ma, right? If I go back and I'll slap myself, and then I just keep it properly. You can resell like mad, right? You know. Last time the best card to have it's a Charizard 100 damage fire spin. So you can just Google Charizard base set 100 damage fire spin. Confirm one. Everybody sees this shit one. In fact, it's on YouTube lah. Everybody says like can sell for 1 mil lah, 2 mil that type shit one.
What the hell?
Yeah, one card.
1 mil.
Yeah, 1 mil, 2 mil easily
It must be so rare lah.
because it's from 1998.
The Logan Paul wear for the wrestling one. Okay.
So you Google the Charizard first. Okay, so this is the second from the left. There you go. It looks like that lah, but it has the logo first edition on the card. Okay, so basically, long story short, you see, look, 1K is damage, 1K. It's ridiculous, right? This is not even first edition, so probably this is like released later on. It's like a reprint. Later on, right, there's this card called an Umbreon, which is basically a nighttime Pokemon. This Pokemon can only evolve nighttime one.
The black color one.
Black color one, you know.
Eevee's cousin.
Eevee becomes an Umbreon. So basically, every Pokemon card since the dawn of Pokemon card creation, this fucker Umbreon is always printed next to a moon, right, you know. For some reason, I have no idea why. It's just to demonstrate there's a nighttime, right? I think it was a few years ago. There was a card, right, that the Umbreon is like finally touching the moon or some shit like that, like reaching towards the sky. They call this card the Moonbreon. This Moonbreon is now the most expensive card in the world now.
Right.
I mean, in Pokemon lah. You search Moonbreon. So I don't know why, but it's just linked to the moon because the nighttime Pokemon lah, just like how the Omega is linked to the moon lah because of that moon story lah. But for me, I feel like if it sells lah. Like, you see? Moonbreon.
So how much is this?
Bro, I don't know, man. It's quite mad lah. But if you have the English version, it's more expensive than the Japanese version. That's what I heard. You can correct me in the comment section. A lot of people feel that the English version of the cards always costs more. And that's only after you create it costs a lot more lah. Yeah, is it like 17K, 800K? It's quite crazy one. That you see all Umbreons are with a moon one. So weird. Or except that one, I think. That one don't have moon. But normally if don't have also, there's a reflection.
13K,
Yeah.
Well,
That's a card only. So the furthest on the right top one, the rainbow looking one, that's a recent one.
Bro, we're in the wrong business.
okay.
Yeah, crazy, man. So I think, you know how long ago, maybe the older generations would buy a lot of art pieces and then display it and be like, oh, this is my art piece. They'll tell you history. I think my generation is probably cards, man. Pokemon cards. It's like something we grew up with. Kind of wild.
Interesting.
But yeah, I know we're reaching the 3-hour mark.
Another crazy session.
Yeah. But we appreciate you guys coming again.
I hope it was interesting, insightful, eye-opening, all the rest of that.
Always.
It was.
Always.
Go read
Always.
more on the Speedmaster and the moon.
I will. Actually, I feel like now I kind of low-key want to go to Swatch and see.
Hey, don't buy vintage, don't like that.
No, I just want to see the MoonSwatch. I remember a friend of mine who bought a MoonSwatch and he's like, bro, so nice, bro. Then I like, don't know lah. But now I kind of want to see it in person. My dad's a fan of Swatch. But I don't know why.
The Snoopy one is really nice.
I like Swatch. I just don't like the MoonSwatch, because of how it got to where it was. They didn't have to do it that way. But I mean, just to put the record straight, I don't hate the MoonSwatch. I just don't like it.
Okay.
It's not something I would buy.
Do you hate anything?
I hate lots of things.
I just want to say. All right lah. Same as usual lah. Just give me your links in the description. I'll put it all below.
Cool.
Yeah. But thanks guys for coming
Thanks
again.
for
Thanks for having us again.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate this again. And this time,
Double check.
for sure. No, confirm. Nick is here. Nick is fucking here. Confirm.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks, guys.